Northwest Fresh podcast.
Max is back again, everybody. Max, Steele, thanks for coming back. This is kind of a part 2 budget. You know, you call your things budget mania.
Budget mania. Yeah. But it's like my WrestleMania joke. It was more fun last year because it was more like a brawl.
Yeah, it seemed longer too.
It was way longer.
Yeah.
I joked like last year was the slow motion car crash. This year is a regular speed car crash. It's just a normal. It's just it's a car crash.
Still getting the crash. It's just
It's just there's something almost to be said that's positive. Well, no, it's a disaster, but it is, at least it's not this sad.
Yeah, it felt like a behemoth last year, at least to me. And maybe it was just the episode we did, but it was like it just felt like weeks of just scratching and like crawling and scratching, and I don't know.
Yeah,
but I know it was kind of more just a compressed version of that. But I don't know why I wrote this on here. You know, I was going to play your sound, I was play your metal sound. Is there anything stronger than steel? Do we need a Max Titanium?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a stupid name joke I
like it. Well, I'll get in a horrible accident and they'll rebuild me. They'll rebuild me and I'll have to legally change my name.
Built out of materials.
I had a client work up the nerve to ask me once. He was like, "Hey, so what gave you the courage to legally change your name to something so ridiculous?" And I was like, it's the actual legal name from birth.
I didn't know that.
It has never been anything but my grandmother is named Max Steele. I'm named Max Steele. It's a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's
There's only a couple of us in the world. There's like a sports writer in Florida.
Okay.
If you put
I'll put a thing of him up.
Because I have a Google alert on myself just in case something like really weird pops off. And no, my Google alert is just all this guy's like basketball play-by-plays and stuff. It was just kind of fun.
Here's the score from the game.
Yeah, he's good. Good. If you're out there, Max Steele in Florida, keep at it.
You guys should have a convention or something. All right. I wanted to, obviously, like I said, we're here to do kind of a budget part 2 a lot. And then also just like city council roundup. There's a lot that happened. But I wanted to start with this topical thing. I don't know. To me, it was just interesting. And I'm going to put a little voiceover in here. So we'll just pause for a second.
Complaint Fest 2026 brought to you by Northwest Fresh.
Whatever that thing just said, Complaint Fest or whatever. I just wanted to start with this complaint because it's like, I wrote on here, it's inevitable and circular. And like, I think one of our first episodes we did together, I remember we talked about a complaint that this gentleman, Dre Miller, got filed against him from a constituent.
Yes.
And now this guy, Dre Miller, chief of staff to Angelita, is filing a complaint against her.
Yes.
Try to follow along here, folks. We've also covered Tiffany's chief of staff filing a complaint. Or
not chief of staff, but yes, Sprout Chin, former Koyama Lane staffer.
Yeah, a complaint against her. So it's just... That's why I put the Complaint Fest sound in here.
Yes.
It's just interesting. I wrote, is this the circle of life with
a little bit. Yeah, no, it's
a
a weird circle of life because so it's also been fun to watch on social media, the reaction. So like when Andre Miller, got the complaint filed against him, it was like, wow, to do this to a black man, this is so fake. This is so phony. These like white, or at the very least, one of the people was a woman of color. But like, how dare they accuse this black man of bullying them? This is so phony. And now the same crowd is like, wow, what a liar. This black man, how dare he accuse a woman of they just immediately, they were like, well, now I think he's full of it. Like that guy's always sucked. It's very fun to watch them. Like they have their it's a food chain. It's a circle of life, right? And it turns out Dre is not the lion at the top. He's somewhere in the middle.
Because I was thinking, if you go after Angelita, who, I don't know, you classify a short king woman, Latino woman. Yes. Like that's a lot of points on the hierarchy thing of.
But one would think that, it's just been interesting that the same dude who was an absolute sweetheart, who would never be awful to anyone, is now suddenly, conveniently, when he has a complaint, which I don't know the nature of the complaint.
I know, I was going to ask you, all I know is it's something to do with this housing thing with Loretta.
I know
That's
what
all I know.
I know what the fight was about, or I believe that I know what the fight was about based on a whole lot of rumors swinging all over the place. And Sophie Peel touched on some of those in the article. But I don't know what the structure of his, like the way he's going to form his argument. It may be incredibly meritorious. It may be really, really specious. Totally, I have no idea.
Legit complaint.
Somewhere in between. Yeah. Like, I don't like Andre Miller, but I'm not going to like cast doubt.
Speculate at this
point. If somebody makes a claim of workplace discrimination, let's hear the complaint and then we can judge. But yeah, no, it's largely around the black home buyers ordinance, which has been a huge, stressful, weird thing in council for months now. This was the thing that at the very, very first episode of the budget meetings, that very first meeting, Loretta Smith brought the whole thing to a halt before the public comments began and was like, I just want to call out the president of this council and half this council for sandbagging, for indefinitely postponing my ordinance. There's Black Portlanders are waiting for this. We're demanding that you take us seriously. He called her out of order. She was totally out of order. It was super fun to watch. It was like Loretta at her bad behavior best, where you're like, all right, this isn't
classic Loretta.
This isn't an appropriate forum for this, but it's funny, and and it warms me toward her. But this finally came back around. So the rumor essentially is that this plan to fund Williams and Russell, Self-Enhancement Inc., and a couple of other components around the idea of how to put it, like, a lot of the Albina plan has fallen apart because the federal funding fell through because Donald Trump doesn't care for us and is a petty and vindictive president.
Yeah. We'll see. By the way, if they fall through this airport sanctuary city thing. But
anyway, it's just petty, vindictive nonsense. Yeah. And so we got a lot of the transportation. So we had this whole big plan to revitalize Albina and to essentially, like, I don't know if there's like a non-racist way to say this, but like, remelanate Albina. Like, it's a historically black neighborhood. There's a fight around the exact story about disenfranchisement and
there's been a lot of displacement in Portland about like, black neighborhoods.
Yes, and the actual details of that are highly debatable and interesting, and it is a fascinating tapestry, but we can all kind of agree, historically black neighborhood, no longer very much of a black neighborhood, a highly gentrified space, and so there's this plan to like bring black Portland back to Albina. A lot of that's fallen apart, right? Feds screwed us. Some money fell through on other things. We've been making terrible decisions and losing our tax base. But this is like Loretta Smith and Self-Enhancement Inc. and a couple of other people in the city. This is their like swing to at least get some housing, affordable housing put in to these spaces. This is the Williams and Russell project. She was looking to take the money from the revolving loan fund for social housing.
I see where this stems from now.
Okay. So now, so the DSA can't let that happen. Right. So this is the
from what I've seen, pretty furious that like Seattle's got this going and it hasn't really, they've done the study here.
Yeah, well, got it. So they do this a lot. They're like, Seattle's got it going. Mexico City's got it going. Toronto's got it going. It's completely untested. It's brand new in all three of those cities.
And all I see, I mean, when I say that, all I see them doing is buying existing buildings.
That's all that it is.
It just happened in Seattle.
Yeah, let's fast forward 5-10 years and see how this building, I mean, I'm going to guess in Seattle, that building is going to become an incredibly toxic asset that costs way more to maintain than
it's like what you've seen with any housing project.
Yes.
Historically.
Yes. Social housing is complicated and, again, long history, easily debatable, not something the DSA is interested in debating. They promote it as like a net good. Right. This is why I jokingly call Mitch Cabrini Green. Nobody it's a deep cut. Nobody understands.
I love Tony Todd and
go watch the Candyman movies.
And it is a real place.
It's a real place. Cabrini Green was Cabrini Green was a horrible. Anyway, so they're going after. They're trying to take money,
take some of that
siphon
money.
a little money from that revolving loan fund, which I think is a good use. I think the revolving loan fund for social housing is stupid. We never should have voted in the first place, but whatever. DSA can't let that happen. So this is the first time that Black Portland and the DSA's goals come to a head.
Right.
DSA is not going to sacrifice anything on social housing. They're never going to give an inch on it. So the rumors were that internally the plan was to block it 6-6. Peacock was going to lock up and block this thing. How they allegedly got Candace Avalos onto this is pretty damning for her integrity, if that's true. So it was going to look like the Peacock against everybody else for. Supposedly, this is what caused strife in Murillo's office, because Andre Miller, if given the choice between the DSA and black home ownership, let's give Dre credit, he's going to choose black home ownership. He's not a DSA member. He's friendly with them. That's it.
That's what I was going to ask. He's probably not an official member.
No, not at all.
For all I know, who knows? Maybe he's been affected by some of that displacement. I don't know.
I'm sure that he has. I mean, that's the one thing. I don't care for Andre Miller, but like he is dedicated to what he's dedicated.
Yeah, he's not going to deviate from supporting anything.
He's not flexible in those issues. And I mean, again, kudos to him. So yeah, so supposedly this was the strife, and then there was a giant blow up. Bridges were burned. Feelings were hurt. Andre is out, and then
he's
on administrative leave, and he's filing a discrimination.
Yeah, it sounds like he's probably not going to be working there.
I don't really imagine
for Angelita.
that she's going to bring him back in. Yeah. Dan Ryan, bring Andre Miller onto your staff. I mean, no, don't do that. I still don't like Andre. So then Samir Kanal sits down with Loretta Smith and finds like an 11th hour compromise where they're going to move the funding source from the revolving loan fund to the builders. I don't remember the acronym, but it's a different funding source. All parties involved are kind of okay with that. And the thing cruises through council. It becomes it's suddenly, instead of a contentious issue where the DSA looks racist,
it's way less controversial.
It becomes a kumbaya. Like they bring out all these black leaders who say like, this is how important this is, which is like nice, but obviously we know it's going to pass by like a super majority. So we could probably fast forward through this, and then they pass it and it's fine. And we'll see if it works. And
it's so interesting though, that like just in that whole process, this crazy burning of bridges happened.
Oh yeah, because
from a failed measure, and then it worked out in the end for what Loretta wanted.
Yes, because I think what people fail to see is like you got to remember the DSA is the whitest and wealthiest of all these political orgs. They are not composed of the working class. They have never represented the working class. They have substantial problems diversifying their own ranks. They're desperate to do so, which is why they put forward an Angelita Murillo, a Tiffany Koyama Lane, because the majority of their ranks are like bald ginger white dudes.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say I don't want to throw him under the bus, but people like what's his name, Brandon Mullen. I know he's not like
Brandon Mullen is not official. No,
but people like that. Like I see what you're like.
Brandon Mullen is too charismatic.
Demographic wise, like that's not really what they would.
Yes,
that's not the ideal for the DSA. You know?
Yeah, they don't want to be represented by Mitch Green forever. But Mitch Green is the archetypal DSA dude, right?
As far as they're statistically, they're demographic.
They are a little bit maler, but they are way whiter. They are way more highly educated. They are way wealthier on average. And this is something their internal documents show. They know this is a problem.
Right.
Again, thus the Angelita Murillo of it all.
Yeah.
They absolutely have to get women of color to the forefront because they look
the part.
Yeah.
Even though that's not what the party itself.
So it's not shocking that their core policies that they're trying to advance aren't actually that popular in immigrant communities, aren't actually that popular in black neighborhoods, aren't like the defund the police, social housing. Loretta Smith has called out social housing so many times because she's like, yeah, we just call that Section 8 where I'm from. Yeah, Loretta, we call it Section 8 where I'm from too. It's just,
No, there was a couple things I was going to say. One thing, I did DM Angelita and she politely said, I can't comment on personnel matters.
Of course not.
Which, now that you've explained this to me, makes way more sense.
And that's all
and
rumors.
That's what she said to the Willamette Week anyway.
I can prove none of that.
Yeah.
It's all rumors coming out of City Hall, but it's rumors from a lot of different independent sources.
Yeah.
Everybody's hearing a little slice of it. And that's probably what it is. I've got some records requests
It sounds, lines up with a lot of things. I was going to shout out real quick. Somebody online, I forget where I saw this, just drew the parallel, made a joke with Andre Miller. Shout out if you are an old Blazers fan, the old point guard Andre Miller. Same name,
Same name.
Anyway, He was a good point guard. And I also was gonna like what you were just saying. I put this in here somewhere. Like, if you guys have any takeaway today from this episode, even though Max and I talk about this constantly, is that like what Max just said. Like, there's this thing going on in Oregon now, especially with the primary, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Like, people love to frame these groups as grassroots, and we've said this a million times, but these are the big money people. They are the special interest people. The most powerful organizations in Oregon support these guys, give them money, prop them up. So it's just like this cutesy name thing tacked on to like the biggest players in the state that are just like pumping these guys up and getting them elected, and it's not good for democracy. But anyway, okay. Yeah, okay, I guess let's start with the budget, right?
Let's start with the budget. Hurrah.
I'm, I don't know. I just very skimmed through like the week. There was, I don't know, I mentioned in the past few episodes, like I was surprised how quick this it was basically a week, right? Where all these amendments tried to get through. And
they had a couple of weeks building up to it with work sessions and stuff, but this was a brutal, I mean, it was a Monday public comment.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Okay.
I was just gonna say I didn't know that until Taylor, the mayor's guy, told me. He was like, "There's one day for testimony," and I was like,
"One day?
What are you talking about?" And
one big day.
That just seemed crazy, but I don't know.
Eric Fruits said something on Twitter, X, whatever, about that. He said, this is what we do now. We troop the groups in with the matching t-shirts, and everybody has their, it's supposed to be 90 seconds or whatever. It gets trimmed down to 60, or it's supposed to be 2 minutes and it gets trimmed down to 90, whatever. And we do a couple hours of that, and then we call it, because we have a hard stop because the staff can't stay, and then it's done, and we're like, we did a democracy.
It's kind of going through the motions.
We did a democracy. And he's like, this is so stupid. How is this a democracy?
Right.
What about this?
Compressed this into, what was it, 3 hours, or how much testimony was?
Yeah, I mean, the whole day was like 5.5 hours, but there's breaks in there. So yeah, 3.5, 4 hours. I mean, I don't know. I listened to the whole thing, and I decided that part of my first article is really abbreviated because, I mean, I sat there with a little tick board and counted like how many people mentioned this, how many people mentioned that. But the actual listening of the testimony is not very interesting.
Because of what you were just saying, it's kind of just boilerplate, like going through the motions.
And it's exactly who you expect on every issue, even the people that I like, right? It's business owners and normal Portlanders begging for public safety. It's the DSA coming in to call out how awesome all the amendments from the DSA counselors are and how shit all the amendments from everybody else is. It's the nonprofits coming in to make sure they want to protect, right? Like,
it just starts to feel performative at some point.
It's super performative. Let me see. This was like, 20% of the testimony was unions, and like 16% of Oregonians workers. 16% of Oregonian workers are allegedly like in unions. So that's like about right. That's about right. It's not that unusual. But the DSA was massively overrepresented at like 6 times their share of the population in the testifiers, because again, DSA whiter, wealthier, have more free time.
Right. They love to pack these testimonies with.
I mean, they love to hang out up in the balcony and just shit talk people on all of the council sessions. Yeah. So
make a lot of noise and disturb the meeting. And I don't know.
So it was the usual suspects saying the usual stuff. Whatever. I mean, it's people's right to do it, but I agree with Eric Fruits that I don't know what function this serves.
Yeah, it seems dumb to me too, because I used to watch back in the commission days meetings all the time, and it got to a point where I don't know if you're an old school Portland City Council listener, follower, put this in the comments if you remember this guy Lightning who would show up, but there would be like the same people every single meeting doing testimony.
Yeah.
And it just starts to feel like we're there again, where it's just kind of like,
oh yeah, we're there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how is this any better than this old, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you've watched some of the early episodes of Parks and Rec, you get it. It's the public comment period. You get it. It's cool. I mean, again, it's a part of democracy, but this idea that so the thing that they do is they ignore the written testimony. Because if you go to written testimony, you get a way better cross-section of Portlanders, because these are people that are passionate about something that they took the time to write in, but this is where on like the foie gras ban, you're going to get the chefs who are like, dude, I can't come in at 2 p.m.
Right.
I work
That
in a
guy's
damn restaurant. I can't.
flipping,
Yeah,
not burgers, but he's cooking dinner.
he's
for
cooking
people,
dinner. He's
you know?
cooking lunch for people. He's managing his business, or single parents or whatever. They can't be coming in all the time to testify, and the Zoom stuff is crap, and it's hard to do. So like the written is where you get a lot of really good stuff. They mostly ignore
Yeah.
and I've heard rumors from inside City Hall that like there's counselors who are like, well, I don't even look at the written
Absolutely,
at all.
yeah. That's the hierarchy of that I've always seen is like,
glance at it.
written's at the bottom, then the Zoom, and then in person.
Yeah.
Which I just think is like, if you look at the city, any city now, and especially on the West Coast and how they're structured, it's like that's just inverted from what you hear from people about like remote work and
Yes.
work-life balance and all that. It's like
Yes.
it should be weighted differently, but it's just how it is. So.
And this is why you guys have got to stop signing petitions on stuff like this participatory budget process crap. This is what groups like the DSA want to do. This is what all socialists and communists end up wanting to do. They want to do more committees, more meetings, more direct democracy, way more direct democracy. But what that ends up with is like the only people who have time, there's a time and a place where it's good, but the only people that have time to go to crap like that are disproportionately the kind of people who are in stuff like the DSA.
Right.
And that's how you get like decisions being like the illusion of consensus, the idea that like, well, 60% of Portlanders really love this idea of this street fee,
Right.
Based on our group that we got together. Like, oh, cool. 60% of the people who had time to show up at 6 p.m. on a Thursday evening or whatever.
Right.
And they
They've got the hours and the money disparity.
Yeah. Like this is not representative of the city. Yeah. So it's one of the dangers of these endless committees, endless public meetings.
No, it was just interesting. Yeah, I found that really surprising that it was like, and also, I didn't know about this, like from last year, they changed this sort of amendment deadline to be on this Friday, which was a couple weeks ago. And
oh yeah, to give the legal and the budget office a time to grade
more time or something. But it just, to me, it seemed like it just compressed all of it for what we were just talking about to be like, well, there's really not a lot of real time for testimony.
It
just kind of frames everything, or like sets everything up for a lot of these counselors' amendments to be like, hey, we're just going to try to get these things through as quickly as we can. And
honestly, you heard Angelita Murillo and even Jamie Dunphy at multiple times say, like, can we not debate these?
Okay.
Like, it's just, there's no point in this. There's no, and they're right in a way.
Yeah.
The public discussion and getting the comments on the record is just, it's more show.
Mm.
All of these amendments were going to go the way that they went. There were only a few amendments that somebody would like, can I offer up an amendment to the amendment to try to get people to a place where they can vote yes on us? But this is why the majority of amendments are struck down 6-6.
Right.
I mean, it was a disaster for everybody except for Keith Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
Spoilers, Keith Wilson wins the budget.
Kind of, again, a repeat of last year of mostly intact budget.
Yeah, but there were big moves last year. There were big swings back and forth. There were wins. There were losses.
Yeah, I guess it was like a lot of subtraction and stuff, but then that was kind of backfilled or filled in at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean about swings. And
it was big swings. This was just losses. This was just a series of losses. Keith Wilson put forward his admittedly controversial proposed cut budget. Yeah. I don't like I like Keith. I don't like this budget. I like Taylor. I don't like this budget. Yeah. But he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted in the end because, I guess shout out to the Northwest Examiner and Bob Weinstein's recent
the tiebreaker thing.
Tiebreaker. Yeah. The charter says what it says.
I did have it on here. Yeah, but just talking about.
Yeah.
Do we need a mayoral tiebreaker?
Yes.
That can
the answer is yes.
Affect these amendments.
Well, I'm sorry. Bob's answer. I'll speak for Bob for a second.
I know he feels like it's illegal.
The answer is we already have one.
Right.
We're just violating our own charter by not utilizing it. Right. Yeah, and I agree.
Because it seems like we're setting ourselves up for failure if we just have these 6-6 stalemates and he's not weighing in as the mayor for a tiebreaker vote.
Put on my not a lawyer hat. I think the budget's invalid. I think that everything that the council has done for the last year is invalid.
Because these are all, there's no actual consensus when you have these ties.
Anytime something locks up 6-6, we got to go back to that decision and go, that's not real. That's not what Portlanders voted for. We voted for a system that was functional, and you broke it day one.
Yeah.
Really. It's been broken ever since, and now we're furious at you, but it's not us. Like we didn't vote for a broken system.
Yeah.
We voted for a system that's not great.
I call it dog shit, but
Yeah, no, it's a terrible.
no, this is a great example because it's like it seems like it just gives more like airtime to people that watch the meetings on YouTube or whatever. It gives more airtime to these counselors who want the performative aspect of it, who want to argue, who want to just lay out their amendments and say it's the greatest thing in the world, and but then we end up with nothing and no progress on it.
Yeah,
you know? It's like,
or you're in this case, like I think Keith Wilson has figured out how to win. He just pits them against each other, and I don't mean that in like a mastermind way, but
he'll just do that, and then like I'm not weighing in as a tiebreaker.
He wins by default because he can trust this particular council. He can trust to do exactly one thing, which is get in their own way.
I see. Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's an evil mastermind. I'm saying that this is a guy who can make lemonade with the lemons he is given.
Yeah.
The lemons he is given is this council, and he's like
playing by the rules as he's knows
playing
them.
by the. I'm sure he'd love a tie-breaking vote. I'm sure he'd love for things to actually be moving forward. I'm sure he's deeply frustrated, and his office is deeply frustrated. But the rules they've got in front of them, they're going to play by them. And so, yeah, he's going to win every time now because he can trust this council, except on a few very small issues, to lock up and fail to get anything changed.
Yeah. So what were like walk us through like the big... Because this is where I get really lost.
Okay.
I was not paying attention this closely.
No, okay.
But like, the big
Sadly,
amendment attempts and it seemed like there was a lot of frustration from, I guess, I don't know. I'm mostly the Peacock folks.
I mean, I think everybody
was
was heartbroken. Yeah. So the public safety stuff was the big thing. Keith Wilson's cut budget cut kind of equally all over the place. It did not prioritize public safety, in my opinion. It didn't prioritize core services. It cut a little bit out of everywhere, and it just kind of said, "All right, kids, we're not only not going to Disney World this year, we are also we're gonna buy fewer new clothes, and maybe the pantry's gonna be a little bit emptier." I mean, it was a straight across the board cut. It was pretty brutal. He did go after PSEF money, which we can talk about in a second for some stuff, and I respect him on that, but I disagree with the public safety cuts. Yeah. So there were a lot of
I'll say real quick too, like, because a lot of people comment at me, like I do support Keith, but I agree with you. Like, I think the public safety cuts and also this kind of shelter walk back stuff was like, it just seemed like both of those was like antithetical to this whole vision of his, like, hey, we're going to move forward as a city. We're going to have a public safety system in place that supports the shelter. It just seemed like, and I know they would say, hey, we got to scale everything back. But it just seems like if those are your top priorities, what are you doing?
No, I know. Yeah. So the things that they were cutting, and they cut all over the place. So there was a cut to chat. Fire Station 22 was on the chopping block.
Is that the St. John's?
That's the St. John's Fire Station. A couple of fire rescue vehicles. So those are not the trucks. Those are the small two-man or two-person rescue crews.
Truck or something.
Yeah, which is hugely cost efficient to do that instead of sending an engine out for a guy who's having like a shortness of breathing. That's weird. Right. Or to
overdose.
To do Narcan and take a whole fire engine. That's absurd. PPB's precinct admin, like any of the front desk people, were on the chopping block. The victim services unit, the PS3 program. There was some BOEC, emergency training, including training for some PPB guys for like mental health services training. There was PSR was that's a tricky one. They were looking to cut some empty PSR role. Like, there's a hiring freeze, so PSR has open positions. So it's tricky to be like, they're cutting PSR positions. Nobody has those jobs.
They're unfulfilled.
They're unfilled positions. Right. But yeah, so there was a lot of really core stuff on the chopping block, along with parks, along with so many other things. And so the biggest fight, which was day 2, so that's the first day of actual amendments, was the fight to refund public safety.
Right. I know Novick had...
Yeah, there were a bunch
of people had.
So the big one was Clark et al. 1 is what they called it. I called it CPG NRS 1 just because it's fun to say out loud real fast.
Sounds like a Star Trek ship.
Yeah, I just had fun writing it over and over again. But this was Clark, Pirtle-Guinea, Novick, Smith, Ryan 1.
Okay.
Huge idea.
I see the acronym now.
Yeah. The idea is you can save chat, you can save Fire Station 22, you can save the rescue vehicles, precinct administration, victim services unit, PS3 program, emergency mental health training. You could save all this stuff Just
So
save
they
it.
restore all.
Yeah, just restore all of it.
Yeah.
Save it all. And all you got to do is borrow $10 million from the OCPA, which is the Office of Community Police Accountability.
Right, I remember that. Okay, yeah.
This is the big fight. This is the fight over democracy and freedom and truth and love. I mean, if you listen to Candace Avalos, Samir Kanal, and Angelita Murillo throughout this debate, you would think that we are voting to eliminate police accountability.
It's like the end of the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every officer gets like a high-powered rifle that they carry with them at all times, and we just it's a whatever
tanks roaming the
whatever you
streets
guys want,
yeah.
man. Here's what it is.
When yeah, my understanding is it's unspent money from the.
They can't spend it. They can't. Okay, so OCPA is 82% of Portland voters, idiots, voted to tie 5% of the PPP's budget.
Right.
Or it's a match. So
they'll
whatever
pull from PPP to fund the board, basically.
It's 5%. Yeah. So it's a hard locked percentage. I'm not aware of a major city in the US that does this. Chicago,
No.
1%. It's a huge
big
police
chunk of money.
It's a big chunk of money. But in Portland, 5% of our police budget is enormous.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it can be no smaller than. It could be as big as it wants to be. We could fund it at $18 billion, and I'm sure Samir Kanal would love to do that.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So that's just the floor.
The floor is 5%.
There's not necessarily a ceiling.
No, we could throw 500 million extra in. Who cares?
Okay.
There's nothing that stops that. But it's 5% of the budget, which is $16 million
a year.
Yes, for a police accountability board. There's no way. They cannot spend it. They can't spend it. Because here's the wild thing. We have a bunch of police accountability systems.
Right,
so some people are like, well, what if they need to hire a whole bunch of independent investigators? Yeah, those are actually paid for from a different budget. Because there's the there's the IPR,
right,
the Independent Police Review, and then there's this CPABQX.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many police accountability systems.
Yeah.
But this is the big one, the new one.
This is, and I would frame it as Samir Kanal's baby.
This is his baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Him and Avalos, this is their.
And that's why I can see why they'd be so threatened.
Yeah.
By taking anything from it.
So this was a borrow. I mean, okay. They got $16 million in the budget. They can't spend it. They cannot spend it by the end of the year. It would be Novick calls in experts, cites all the sources, and proves there's no way this is spendable. It would be impossible. So why not save core services with this money instead of, as he puts it, leaving the money in a bank account for a year? That just seems irresponsible, gross, and not what Portlanders want.
And yeah. Also, if this comes from Steve, it's kind of like, that.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably important.
No.
He's not like the most pro-police person necessarily.
No, not at all. Yeah. If Ilana Pertlegini and Steve Novick are willing to go to this this is not a cash grab from police accountability. Progressive, very, very progressive counselors are willing to go after this money, and they should. It was a good plan. It was simple. It was clean. It worked very, very well.
And I just want to clarify, too, you said it's a loan, so they'd have to pay that back anyway. Is that kind of okay?
So this is where I want to be real careful with this, because it is technically a loan. However, as I understand it, again, not a lawyer, if the OCPA underspends by that amount, they just won't repay the loan.
Oh, I see.
Which is fine.
Which kind of makes sense.
It kind of makes sense, right? Because that money is going to go. So what's going to happen is that money is going to go into like the TAO at the end of the year, the technical adjustment ordinance, and then it would just get back fed to pay off the loan. So it's not that the loan is like waived, but it's just like if the money is going to go into the TAO, which it will. This is the thing. They voted this down, by the way. They voted it down 6-6, assholes. We're going to see this money at the end of the year in the TAO. And then Ilana Pertlegini and Steve Novick and Olivia Clark and the rest of them are going to get to sit there and go, oh, look at that. We cut core services for Portlanders. We told you this money was going to sit in a bank account all year. And Samir Kanal said, you can't prove that. You don't know that. You don't know that. You are subverting the will of the voter. You are injuring the voter with this. He gave his, it was like audacity and disdain speech or something. He was like, the audacity, you have disdain for the voter. It's disgusting. It's illegal what you're trying to do. I mean, the rants are so hyperbolic.
It's also ridiculous because, like, we'll get to it later, but these guys, are on this like rampage of raising taxes, and
Yes.
a lot of people argue that's illegal, like especially the arts tax thing. But anyway, we'll get to
no,
that later. Yeah.
So anyway, so this is
it's just the duplicity. Anyway,
but this is the big fight of the whole budget. Nothing else in the budget really matters, but this loses. It goes 6-6. It's exactly how you think it goes. It is locked up on party lines. It fails on party lines. They cannot get. Dunphy proves that the peacock is alive and well.
I know. I wrote that on here. I was gonna say, you guys, like, unless you've been living under a rock, this peacock thing is still going.
It's still going. It's still going strong.
You know, they've had this whole thing of disbanding. That's bullshit.
They've just taken it to signal or whatever they need to do to dodge. No.
This is more evidence than you'd ever want from this budget session, that it's an exact repeat of last year, and it's along the only block that exists, which is the peacock block.
Yes.
You know, so
yeah. No, it's you catch your boyfriend cheating on you. You don't dump him. For some reason, you let the marriage or the relationship counselor talk you into not dumping him. So he just gets way better at cheating on you. He's just really good at cheating on you. Now, that's the peacock.
Right.
The peacock is just way, way better at existing in the shadows. Now, good job. Thanks, ethics investigation. So yeah, no, this thing dies. And after that, there's a ton of weird aborted failure attempts to save these programs, borrowing from way crappier things. Eventually they settle on a Samir Kanal proposal to save the fire engine. So we saved engine 22 and like a couple other things. And now in the week after this, all the peacock has done has been like, well, it's really sad that we're losing all these core services, but, you know, we tried to save them and you guys voted it down. Like, they're literally pretending it's a fun inversion. Fun. No, it was just ugly. Yeah, almost everything else is 6-6. Almost everything fails. There's just very, very little that gets done across 2 days. They are exhausted by the end of it. They are battered and, like, their moods are broken. It proved Bob Weinstein right, though. Council is fundamentally broken.
Yeah, you just can't, like, if this is gonna be the budget process every single year, this is like a joke. Like, what are we doing here?
So this is, I want to talk about the strong seventh.
Right.
Murillo comes out of this calling for a strong seventh. She says
this amendment or the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Okay.
She comes out of the budget process. Yeah, because the other, I mean, like, we could go into some of the other amendments, but they're dry. They're boring. It's really, oh, well, yeah. One of the things they get through is they defund their own security.
Oh, right. I did hear about that.
Yeah, Murillo 1 defunds their security to pay for some stuff.
But didn't they retain some of it, or I don't remember?
They retained some. So
Still
what happened
security.
is Keith put forward a huge increase to their security.
Okay.
They really massively increased that budget because he raised it to match what they used last year.
Okay, gotcha.
And Murillo is up there for multiple minutes talking about how, people weren't careful enough with their use of security. People didn't know how expensive it was. Counselors weren't as judicious as they could have been. Oh, if only counselors could be more careful with their use of security. And then Eric Zimmerman reveals the extra security use for the year.
Which is what, like, I didn't even know they had this until this whole thing kind of blew up and got.
Some gets scary.
I was just thinking, because I knew like City Hall had security.
They
but
can
I'm
call
like,
it to their
damn, if
houses.
they got each 12 offices, like, that's insane.
Well, they have a pool, so they have a number of officers they can call in. But here's the extra security uses for the year.
Okay.
Dan Ryan, no times, 0 times. Eric Zimmerman, 1 time. Olivia Clark, 1 time. Loretta Smith, 1 time. Mitch Green, 1 time. Jamie Dunphy, 2 times. Tiffany Koyama Lane, 6 times. Ilana Purtle-Guinea, 8 times, respectable. Candace Avalos, 9 times, the lady that thinks that she had her house set on fire. For good reason, by the way. We all thought that. That makes sense that she has 9 times. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's legit. Samir Kanal, 36 times.
Okay.
Angelita Murillo, 38 times.
Is there any, like, thing about the nature of...
We know a little. These? Allegedly, Angelita Murillo's bus stop was leaked online, and so she was having security drive her home. I don't know the details of that. I'm not even going to criticize it. I'm just going to say Angelita Murillo sat up there and complained about counselors not having judicious use of security and counselors not knowing how much it costs. So they were just hitting, I need security again. Is that expensive every time I hit that?
How many times? 38 times?
38 times. Yeah. And Zimmerman's thing was like, I don't care. You can use it 100 times. That's fine. I just want you to be safe.
Right. Yeah.
I have a slightly different take on this, right? Dan Ryan has had people like throwing road flares in through his windows in the and he used it 0 times. Right. Alana Pearl-Guinea is a Jewish mother at a time of rising anti-Semitic violence, and she used it 6 times, I think, 8 times. That seems right. That seems right. I'm fine with that. Candace Avalos thought that a man set fire to her house, and she used it 9 times. Fair ball. Absolutely. 36 and 38 times. Come on. Come on.
I'm trying to think. That's God,
that's a lot of times.
It's
not weekly.
Multiple times per month.
Yeah. It's not weekly, but it's
Yeah.
There's stretches where it probably was weekly. And of course, it's because those are the two biggest problems on council. Avalos is like a close third, but I'm not going to knock her for security stuff. Legitimately, I want to be very, very clear. We all thought someone set fire to her house. That is
there's this arson question
that exempts her from any thought that she might have been overly paranoid about security. She gets a free pass. I would have thought she used that 20 times, and I wouldn't even have blinked an eye at that. But the two biggest mouths, the two running their mouths all the time, always causing shit on either in chambers or on social media, those two are also the two highest users of the extra security. Yeah, it's not shocking at all. It's not remotely shocking. They're probably our two most expensive counselors.
Like I said, it just kind of blows my mind because I didn't even know it was a thing. And I guess that makes sense that they'll base it on last year's usage.
Yep.
If they're using it
because we went
times or whatever.
Because we went way overboard last year. Yeah. And Angelita was not going to say, like, I promised to use it like less this year. So she just said, I just want everybody to be a lot more judicious in our use. We're just going to be a lot more careful from now on. We have to make sacrifices if Portlanders have to make sacrifices. And that was kind of a lovely little speech, but it was just
but the thing that I noticed also was, I think Novick or somebody had amendment to reduce their office budgets, which I'm always in favor of, and I don't think that happened. Right?
No, it did. No, of course not.
They're not going to touch that.
And that. Let me.
Was that like went down in flames hard?
Yeah. Let me be very fair. That was not the Peacocks tanking that thing. That was basically everybody.
Right.
In fact, some of the Peacock. Mitch Green, to his credit, was like, yeah, I support this absolutely.
Sure,
my budget's way too much. Loretta Smith was like, hell no.
Yeah, I guess
you're prying this money from my cold dead hands.
Yeah, and I'm like, blame all of them equally. I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, you got... And I would imagine the security money is separate from that. That's
the
like
security money is that's a city admin
fund thing. Or
yep. So Murillo 1 passed. The only no's on Murillo 1, that's the security defund. Ryan, Clark, Zimmerman, and Smith were no's on Murillo 1. They wanted to keep the security, so that's the group that are increasingly it's the DSA has invented a new term for the non-peacocks. They call them the mod squad.
That term's been around forever from the Oregon legislature, and I'm fine with that. Like, I don't know.
Also, I don't know if anybody
it's better than calling them like crazy conservatives, which doesn't really exist in Portland.
But also the Mod Squad, the TV show, were cool.
And it's a movie too.
In a movie. Yeah, the Mod Squad was cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they were cool.
That's from what I've heard. There was I think Tina Kotek was part of it, but there was a Mod Squad in the legislature that was like well known, and it was a cool kind of thing. And so I don't know, but I also kind of disagree with the fact that that's like a block. If that's what they're trying to frame
it's
it,
not a block. It's not a block because again, what you're saying with this, and maybe we'll get to more Steve Novick isms. They are trying hard to end Steve Novick.
Yeah, I had that in here.
They need you to think that he is a moderate. They desperately need you to believe this.
Yeah, where was it? I had it in here of like, I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, I just put the knives are out for Novick.
Yep.
Like I saw the thing I think you posted about Angelita calling him out and like, let's get him out. And
so this is the strong. So back to my strong seventh. So Angelita comes to social media and she says, after all this mess, this just shows you that we need a strong seventh. We need the Peacock needs to be 7, which is illegal. But whatever, it's fine. Don't worry about it. They'll they need a true strong seventh. Steve has been their honorary 7th, and they need a strong 7th. I have called for 7 adults in the room. 7 adults in the room will disagree. Alana Pearl-Guinea voted for a lot of stuff in this budget process I disagree with. Yeah. Steve Novick voted for a lot of stuff in this budget process I disagree with. Olivia Clark, who I'm friendly enough with, voted for that damn tough that she was the head sponsor of the tough, and I am unlikely to forgive her for that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna disagree. They're adults, right?
Mhm.
And what Murillo is asking for is just an end to representative democracy, right? She wants a block so big that they will just run the room, and there is no stopping them. And they would say, well, if we can get enough people to vote for 7 of us, then we deserve to dominate the city for 4 years at a time with absolutely nothing to stop us. But again, just for the listener or the viewer, think back on the stuff that has gotten stopped. Think back on all the defunds that we've managed to stop. Think back on all the stupid ideas we've managed to slow down.
I don't know why I
all of
always
that would have
remember
slid through.
the uncrease.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's such a stupid term, but that was from last year.
That was
anyway,
from the uncrease
that
from last
year.
year.
That was a defunding attempt.
I mean, shit, even Murillo's AI price fixing ban in its original incarnation was illegal. That would have ridden right through.
Yeah.
Samir Kanal's mask ban is legitimately unconstitutional.
Right.
Legitimately
from
just
the Ninth Circuit, which is the most liberal court.
Unconstitutional amendment or ordinance, not an amendment. And everything like that is going to slide through if they get their strong 7th.
Right. No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I had a whole thing on here in the budget section about, I've talked about this in circles, but, if you guys are new to the show or whatever, the DSA counselors vote party over constituents.
Yeah.
I first heard it from you in Real City Reform.
Yeah.
She kind of did a piece about that.
Yeah.
Party over city, party over everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true, but we can talk maybe later about the overall election season, more primary stuff. But I heard from Spencer Pratt had a thing saying that DSA members have to like sign allegiance when they join to the party, which is probably illegal in most territories. Because like you said, you're not representing your voters. You're dedicated to this partisan party.
Yes.
Which is what I talk about all the time of like, that's an ORS violation, especially for their staffers. So
it's
anyway,
party before everything.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the SIOC. I think Oregonians need to know what a SIOC is, but this was like this public safety bit of the budget encapsulates the rest of it. It was just a long, sad, miserable slog. I'm about to drop the second piece of my budget analysis, but that day 2 or day 3, technically, it's just a slog. Very little happens. I think it's going to be a lot shorter than my first piece because it is just failure.
It's just more of the same.
All we learn is that council does not work and that Jamie Dunphy is loyal to his clique.
Yeah.
He is a terrible council president. I apologize for ever.
It was only like, a couple minutes you gave him a chance.
This has killed the optimist in me for anything to do with this council. I am riding into this next election season endorsing Eric Zimmerman for re-election. I got a couple people that are running that aren't currently sitting that I like, and I really don't know. The whole thing can go. The whole thing can go. It's a disaster.
And it's like we were just saying, to me, the kind of, I don't know, ultimate betrayal or whatever of that is like, he had this whole, as a council president, this whole disbanding Peacocks thing, but they went right back to their
nonsense
shittiness and
nonsense. If anything, it's worse.
Yeah. And I had this on here later about like forecasting for November general election, but what I tell everyone, at least right now, I don't know, maybe you disagree with some of this, is like, if you're where I'm at in District 3, don't vote for any incumbents. Steve might be kind of like one of the outliers in that, but don't vote for any incumbents in D3 and D4, ditch Mitch.
Yeah.
That's kind of my suggestion to everyone. But I can see how you're just like, because you're talking about all the districts and
for every Portlander of every stripe. Oh, I mean, if we're talking about 2028, I'm gonna endorse Dan Ryan for re-election. I'm warm toward Loretta Smith and Alana Purtle-Guinea. I think they've done. If you voted for Loretta Smith or Alana Purtle-Guinea, you should vote for them again. They gave you what you voted for. Like I have my beef with either of them, but they gave you the same thing with Olivia Clark. I'm pissed at Olivia. Yeah. But if you voted for her, she gave you what you voted for. Like that, you need to be satisfied with the results or realize that you were wrong one way or the other. I'm just mad as hell about this tough.
I agree. I don't think it was. I understand how they all feel it was necessary, but affordability is just like on everyone's mind, and that's a horrible thing to introduce. And
yes.
I also had on here that this thing glided right through about basically every city utility, water, sewer,
Oh yes,
just
everything,
garbage is going up.
Everything's going
And
up.
I'm like, I don't know. I wrote on here like these guys are like, especially the peacocks, but kind of all of them. Sometimes it's like they're on Planet Champagne, just eating caviar, and like,
I mean,
I just don't get
No.
the disconnect between.
They're like, we got to do it. Government can only get bigger. It can't ever stay the same size or shrink. Government has to get bigger. It just has to. That's how governments work. It's weird because the socialist critique of capitalism is a straw man, right? This idea that the capitalist always just wants everything bigger, more, always bigger, more, which is ridiculous. But in reality, many socialists and many progressives, they do actually envision a government just kind of slowly subsume, like,
I mean,
it just
I feel
slowly eats all things. Yeah, there's stuff the government's really good at. There's stuff the government is terrible at. You do not want to let the government take over those things.
Yeah.
Confom today has joined or yesterday had joined the big push for, we got to get a Bank of Oregon. Oregon needs a state bank. We need a state bank immediately. And then of course Mitch Green is like, hell yeah, let's get a Bank of Portland too. It can be, let's nationalize the banks. This is definitely a good idea. Wow, that's so stupid. But yeah,
well, it's funny. I was gonna say, it's, I'm a Tim Dillon fan. I've seen him here in Portland when he's come here, but he had a thing recently about the LA mayor's thing of like, people wanted him to comment and stuff, and he's just like, I'm just so done with LA, and I just feel like this is like Portland too. He's like, it's LA now is like one of the hardest levels in Super Mario Brothers, where everything's just trying to kill you. Not that I feel like it's like violent like that in Portland necessarily all the time, but I feel like it's like 70% government or these orgs that are supported by the government, and they're just making your life harder. Like that's all they're doing. Yeah. And that's why it just feels like oppressive in that sense of, everyone working in the city is mostly working for those bodies, and like there's very little private employment.
Yeah, those are the only good jobs left.
And it's just like you said, it might even expand more to where like it's just the government's the main player here in Portland. And if you're not on board with that, you're kind of cast out. And
oh yeah. It will get bigger. It must get bigger. Yes, this is one of the just as a tangent, but it's worth it. The DSA affiliated city attorney candidate in Los Angeles has promised, if she wins, to cease enforcement of a law in Los Angeles County that prevents camping within, I think it's 500 feet of schools.
Oh, I see. She's not going to enforce.
No, because that's brutal to people to let them camp in your city, but not let them camp right in front of an elementary school. And this brings up a question that just keeps coming up in conversations I'm having with people. Who's asking for this? Who is asking for this? Who is the homeless Portlander or Los Angelino who is saying, man, it really sucks I'm in this tent and I'm trying to get back on my feet? I do really, really think the best real estate is right in front of the kindergarten. I have never, the P-pop, the needle stuff, that fight, I spoke to drug users and I was like, hey, have they moved to this 800 feet further that way so it was away from a school? Would that really bother you all that much? And these drug users who are like just trying to get their needles and like crack pipes are like, yeah, that seems like, it seems like a nice thing to do, to move it further away. I didn't even know that was a school. Right. Kind of feel bad about that.
Nobody's advocating for. No. I remember this is like a couple of years ago now, but I remember there's a big park by my house, and I talked to a gentleman who was living in an RV by it, because it's this park that I know is next to a school with young kids, and I was just. He was kind of being nice and like, you want to check out the inside of my RV? And I was like, I'll take a look. Or I just spent a few minutes talking to him, but I was like, there's kind of you're like right next to a school here. Like, it's kind of strange, probably not the best spot to be pulling up in a kind of strange RV. And he totally understood what I was saying. He's like, I'm just looking for a spot that's like, that I can get to. And so to what you're saying, I don't think anyone's like advocating for.
Most people are decent. We added, I say we, it was the PTA that ended up adding them, but we had this issue where there was a guy, he walked up at one of our Friends of Cooch Park events. And he's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And we explained, we're activating the park, trying to make it safer for kids because it's a school zone. And he was like, what? I was like, well, because it's a school zone. He's like, oh, where's the school?
Didn't even know.
I was like, that huge building there, MLC, that is a school. And he went, get out of here. I thought that was like a mostly shuttered like admin building or something. And I said, oh, are you only here on the weekends? And he said, yeah, I have definitely done drugs in this park. I did not know that was a school. You guys should put up better signs. And I said, you know what? I'm going to run that up the flagpole. Let's see how that idea. And we bounced that idea over to the PTA, and they said, you know what? We could probably put some
Yeah, just
friendly
some
signs up.
awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just a nice like welcome to Cooch Park / Metropolitan Learning Center, a K through 12 public school. It's like a really friendly. It's not a like no drugs. It's just a nice. It just basically says the word school on
It's
it.
kind of like, because aren't there road signs at school zone? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
there are road
That's more
signs.
for drivers, obviously.
Sure,
Yeah.
but this was
Kind of
like
the same idea.
we
like,
did notice a little downtick because people, I'm sure somebody's bringing out their foil and they're like, oh crap, is that a school?
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere else. People tend to be decent. It just
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, to what you're saying, to me, that's like a 90-10. I don't understand
Oh,
who is
it's-
fighting
no.
for that. Like, I've never talked to anyone who's supportive of, like,
this
handing out needles or camping around
right
schools
in front
or
of a
any
school.
of that
It's
stuff.
wild, but then you've got these DSA candidates that are like, you can't ban people from doing stuff in front of schools. And my rebuttal is, you absolutely can. We absolutely do, and it's massively successful.
There's a bunch of laws that we have that do that.
I want to say a really nice thing about Megan Moyer, County Commissioner
Yeah,
Megan
okay,
Moyer, on
yeah.
this needle battle. She's been great. It was brought up like, whoa, we're going to hurt these needle distribution sites if we move them away from schools. And she said something, I'm paraphrasing, but so well put, where she said, listen, we don't allow marijuana dispensaries within a certain distance of
Strip
schools.
clubs, all these.
And no one in Portland is struggling to get weed.
Right.
No one is struggling to
Right.
find the weed.
Yeah.
It works. This is a silly argument. And I loved her for that. I was like, hell yeah, Megan Moyer. That's exactly right. No one sensible is asking, because no one in this argument is saying we don't want needles to be handed out anywhere. There's no one on like my side of that debate I am saying that is a school. Can it be anywhere the hell else?
Can we look at like the environment it's in? And
yes,
just
and we
have
do
some ground rules.
We do that with liquor stores. We do that with strip clubs. We do that with so many things, and it works. It's successful. It's not NIMBYism to not want needles dispensed in front of a school or a library.
Right. It's kind of also, when you think about land use and all that, it's like, why we don't have a big chemical plant next to a school.
Yes.
It's the same like land use
we
type of thing.
understand that children are, to be stereotypical, our future, and we do need to protect them in special ways. Yeah. So that's the constant refrain is, who is asking for this stuff?
Right.
I don't know.
I wanted to mention real quick, still on the budget stuff, like, I heard from Kelly last week, who's a D3 candidate. She, and I've heard this too in articles and stuff, that there's like still time to resolve some of these, like the public safety hole.
There is. Yeah, there is.
There's until the, late June. That's like the city's deadline, and then there's the state deadline. But like, what do you think? Is there anything going to happen there? I don't know. To me, it seems like it's over. And
I think it's over.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what they're going to do is if they find anything that turns out to be illegal, accidentally, right? Or something where
it's like legal review time.
This is time to crunch through the budget and look at like, it turns out that funding source is not, we actually, according to some court decision, we can't move money from this. Right. So now we need to, so there will be some, what they refer to as technical adjustments. The budget office will bring probably some more technical adjustments. They'll fix some Scrivener's errors, as they love saying. Yeah.
It's more just error correction. It's not really like
it's making sure
amendments.
Yeah, it's making sure whatever they vote in is legal. Although again, to Bob's point, nothing that they do is legal at this exact moment, in my non-lawyer opinion.
Yeah, he's always got real thoughtful things on the charter, and I think
if you read one piece, I would just stop listening to this episode. We don't even matter. That piece, no, I'm joking. But that Northwest Examiner
you
piece.
do both at the same time.
Yes, you can do both at the same time. The Northwest Examiner piece, the charter says what it says, is the best thing written this week.
Yeah.
It's great. It is.
Yeah, check it out.
Yep.
I'll put a link in here.
It's better than anything I've written. It takes a lot for me to say that.
Is there anything else budget-wise? Otherwise, going to move on to like other city council stuff.
Let's see.
It sounds like the most of it was that heated public safety.
Yeah, well, and then just a series of losses, right? That's it. Yeah, that's the gist of it. That public safety section I highlighted in my piece. It's like a 70-minute debate over Clark et al. 1. If you watch that 70 minutes at 1.5 times speed, you'll get a good idea of how the whole 2-day thing went. It sort of encapsulates everything that's wrong with council. it shows you who the characters are. Even if you're like a DSA person, if you watch that 70 minutes, you're going to come out of that going, hell yeah,
Yeah.
I love Angelina Murillo and Mitch Green. Like,
Okay.
it's going to show you who they are.
It's just a display of where we're at.
Just 70 minutes of fighting.
It's like a UFC.
Yes.
I guess not even that. That's
No.
shorter than that.
But that's it. The budget is a disaster, unless your name is Keith Wilson, and then you win. Congratulations, Keith, on figuring out that in a 3-way fight, the person who swings the least might win. Like,
yeah, I know, and I'll be honest too. Like I was trying to figure out too. I'm like, is the mayor's office trying to play 4D chess here with this budget? I was just trying to decipher what the hell is going on, because I wasn't happy with it either. But you know, in this kind of ultra low approval rating city environment, he's like he's doing okay compared to the rest of these guys.
Yes.
And,
I mean, again, this is a crap bar.
it is, yeah.
But best mayor in a while.
Yeah,
Best mayor in a while.
I think that's
a
decent argument.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
I mean, like, given I am not aware of any better candidates, if we had to do some sort of weird, we didn't cross a T and we have to redo the mayoral election next week or this November, I would vote for him again. I'm not aware of a candidate that I would be stoked about over him. I have my criticisms, but
you know, one thing that's, I don't know, this is kind of off topic maybe, but I've been thinking a lot about it, of like, just how many people I know, and probably you know too, from the old commission system that just want absolutely nothing to do with this current iteration of city. They're like all the stuff you just talked about, the fighting and all, they're like,
I won't do it.
And that's why you don't see Mingus, Carmen Rubio, like they're just like not even.
I've begged all of them.
Yeah, they don't want it, you know, and I understand, but it's also like,
I want leave off this to throw her hat in. Let's get some Darrell Kinsey Bay. Let's get at
get some of those people.
Come back. No.
I just thought that was interesting that like the old electeds are just like steering clear of this entirely, because it's kind of like a lot of people would agree that, I don't know, just say that it's like a steaming pile of shit and they don't want anything to do with it. But
disaster.
I was going to move on to, we kind of touched on it a little bit. I wrote Peacock raises taxes. To be fair, Olivia also with the tough, I did not agree with that, but this arts tax recently passed. It seemed like pretty quickly, like it just kind of
very quickly went through. It was an obvious thing. The people that didn't like it, but yeah, it punched right through.
And even despite the Metro Chamber saying they'll sue,
and they should sue, and I support them in that suit. And and I don't. And this is, so there's a big question here of if they can do this. There is a huge legal question. This is the second major interpretation by Robert Taylor that, again, not a lawyer.
He is.
But Robert Taylor is allegedly a lawyer. As far as I know, the man is an attorney and is barred in Oregon. As far as I know, I am not a lawyer. I have spoken to a number of lawyers who look at his interpretations and they go, I'm not saying it's dead wrong. I'm just saying it's not the interpretation I would have gotten to. Like, it's a stranger. This is on the mayor tie-breaking vote, and on this one, Loretta Smith asked him. Loretta Smith occasionally lets down the likable mask and shows that there is a really cunning mind in there that is colder and I like a lot, but like she's so likable most of the time and just kind of like almost goofy and fun. And then she'll sometimes like let the mask down and you're like,
sometimes she's like,
there's somebody really.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be cute about this.
And she's making moves 2-3 years ahead. She's like, okay. So she called Taylor up when they were talking about this and just asked him like a simple question. She was like, why can we do this? Like, what is your interpretation on why we can even do this? Why can we modify a tax that the voters voted in? Why don't we have to return it to them? And he made some sort of argument about like, we are, because you're an elected body by the voters, you have kind of an equal democratic voice to them. It was a strange one.
It's like you're tied to representation to the electorate, kind of thing, or whatever.
Yeah. It's because they sort of speak for us. This feels like a fresh or like a little bit of a radical interpretation to me. Again, not a lawyer, but so I don't think it'll hold up. I think this is yet another thing that they're doing to like punch up their resume going into November to be like, look at all this stuff I did. And then I point at the list of stuff and go, there's very little on that list that's substantive. Like, I don't think this arts tax thing will stand. But
yeah, and it's just like, I don't know what I've had a bunch of stuff on here about. It's just all like increasing costs for people, and like I said, it's just like there's no consideration of affordability. Like sometimes it seems like on the entire council, and I just don't get it. That's why I wrote down there on Planet Champagne eating caviar, and it's like there's a huge disconnect. But I was gonna say real quick, you know, in my brief time, I've worked for a couple different cities. The city attorney is usually a role that cities have, and they're there to do what you just said. Like they're there to basically defend the city.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe I'm just telling people what they already know, but like they do kind of have a bias towards, in my opinion, protecting some of these counselors' ideas.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And maybe it's not, I don't know. I know it's more than just Robert Taylor. They have a whole team of attorneys.
Yeah, but he's the buck stops with him.
He is the
buck stops.
He got
with
the
him.
title and stuff.
Well, and this is the mayor's tie-breaking vote. This is this thing. Ultimately, he is the last word unless a judge is involved.
Right.
So this is my understanding of the legal system.
Legal advice.
And, so this is the mayor's tie-breaking vote is the same thing. Loretta Smith asked him, how do we get a second opinion on this? And he was like, well, you would need, and I don't know the exact legal terminology for it. They wouldn't be exactly suing the city, but essentially a counselor could seek outside counsel to bring this to a judge, because a judge is going to supersede the city attorney's opinion, right? If there's a ruling or a determination from a judge, but that's the only way you can get a second opinion. Or you could fire Robert Taylor and hire a new attorney, but that is a really ugly and probably ill-advised way to carry out policy. That's very Trumpian.
Yeah.
It's just keep firing your lawyer until you find a lawyer that tells you what you want to hear is pretty damn Trumpian. But this is very democratic and very legal. And so I hope that Loretta, this was my joke last time of like, do the lawsuit, Loretta. I hope that Loretta Smith takes some office funds. I
would support that, because what I was just thinking and what I was going to say is like, you know, when Kelly was on here last week, and this was the next topic I had on here about the primary, was like, you know, this, what is it, Measure 120, went down in flames is not like a hard enough term. Like it was like 83% of the state was voted no, 70% of Portland said no. I don't know who these rich a-holes in Portland who voted for a tax increase for payroll and gas tax right now.
Yeah, you're not on Blue Sky enough. I know exactly
but
who
it's
they
still,
are.
that's over 70-30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the yeses were on Blue Sky.
Yeah, right.
That's where they're at.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just saying that because like you look at that environment and then you look at like this arts tax and what these guys are doing. And that's why I keep talking about this disconnect of like, what are you doing? Like, you know, they post photo. I think you posted a photo of Olivia and I can't remember.
It was
Jamie,
Tiffany, Jamie, and Ilana.
Sorry. Okay.
Those are your principal.
But they were just like, we accomplished this tax increase. And just like, what are you fucking thinking?
Well,
like,
because
this is not, and nobody in Portland, I don't know, from the people I know are like, that was cool. Everyone's like, that was totally uncool.
Again,
they hate. Everyone hates the arts tax to begin with.
No, I know. Again, don't go to Blue Sky, but that's where they're at. But no, because they paint it as a tax cut,
right? Because of you make the income limit thing, and
if you're so poor, you're basically eating cat food to stay alive.
Yeah. Because it's I don't even know what it's $20,000 or
it's 30,000.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, it's 30,000 taxable Oregon income. So you could theoretically make something like, let's say, for example, $45,000, $50,000 a year, as long as there's expenses and items, blah, blah, blah. But like if you have under 30,000 a year in Oregon taxable income, you don't have to pay this anymore. So the poorest Portlanders would be exempt from this. Okay. And then you raised it for everybody else.
Right. You're still talking about what I would classify as a lot of the lower and middle class people are. Have a tax increase on top of all these other fucking utility increases, the tough, all these other things that are...
I'll do a Mitch Green style tortured logical argument. Do we pay teachers enough? Because teachers still have to pay this. Do you think teachers are thriving? I don't know. I mean, they claim teachers aren't thriving, but every single teacher that works for PPS is going to have to pay this tax at an even higher rate now. So I don't know. Maybe they're saying teachers make plenty. Like, you kind of got to pick, right? Is $70,000, is $80,000 a year a shit income? I don't think it's a shit income, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be going after the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year earners for more taxes right now.
That's what
that is not who I would be targeting.
It just I don't understand the festival of increasing costs for Portlanders right now. And I understand, the budget side of it, but it's like, that's probably the most unpopular set of decision making you can be doing right now as a body. Yep. And they're just like, they're obsessed with it. And
income down must make income right. go up.
Right.
How make income go up? Tax.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I was trying to think of other stuff to mention with that. I guess we can move on to the primary. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about?
I want to talk about this will of the voter thing for a second, if you don't mind. Yeah. So this is something we heard throughout the budget process. We're going to keep hearing it. We're going to hear it on the campaign trail. Will of the voter. You cannot go after PSEF. Will of the voter, right? PSEF 2018. 65% of voters approved PSEF.
It's the original passage of that.
Yep. Yeah. It's supposed to raise $60 million a year, raise $200 million a year. It's a dragon hoard, as I have put it, sitting on $1.7 billion. And they are so precious about who can go after that extra money that we didn't. So once again, only 65% of people voted for it. I was not one of those people.
I don't honestly remember. I could have.
I was definitely not one of those people. And this is my ugly back of the napkin math, but only 65% of voters who are still here are voters who were those voters, right? Because of death, because of aging, because of moving.
Whatever that
approximately could be 70
population is quite a bit different.
Population is quite a bit different. Yeah. It's not half. We haven't replaced half since 2018, but possibly.
Yeah, and I mentioned a lot of the new census numbers. At least in Multnomah County, there's almost like 20,000 people that have left since 2020.
So, and I mean, it's like, again, it's ugly, tortured, Mitch Green ass statistics to do like 65% of 65% gives you. But when you're talking about the will of the voter, what voter? So. We've got the same thing. The OCPA was approved by like 82% of the voters in 2020.
That's what I just said, though. 20,000 people have left the county since 2020.
Exactly. So which voters? Who voters? Some of this stuff is okay. Like I think Kelly Torres said on your episode, I hate PSEF and want to plunder it. Right. I will vote yes on everything that takes money. So I just want to be really transparent. I am not a nice progressive Portlander.
Yeah.
I want to gut that thing like a fish.
I'm basically with you. I just think it's probably the dumbest thing in city history that I know of, that we're like, man, we got the worst budget and
$1.7
this year, and it's going to be worse going forward. And then there's billions sitting there.
1.7 billion. Yeah. But Kelly Torres, being a nice progressive Portlander who is not an asshole like I am, she was like, I still think we should give the voter another peek at that.
Right.
And figure out like maybe they add something where for every dollar above 60 million it earns, that goes into another whatever. Yeah. Now she didn't say it that way because she has to be really careful, and we all have to be really careful. There are a lot of weird Oregon laws. Like my understanding is you cannot change PSEF to say 60 million a year is the cap. Everything it raises above 60 goes into the general fund, because you can't actually do taxes like that for the general fund in Oregon. But we've got these PSEF defenders, the OCPA defenders, the preschool for all defenders at the county who are like, will of the voter, everybody will of the voter. We are not getting what I didn't vote for any of this crap, but we are not getting what we voted for. We are getting giant dragon hordes of gold piled up to the sky, right, and core services cut. So that's, to me, that's the story of this budget. Is Steve Novick ironically was perfectly fine going after the 10 million that was going to go underused, but as a giant PSEF defender, which is why I'm not endorsing Steve Novick. But that's the core problem with our city. We have councilors who want to hoard money and bring in even more money to fill the gaps. And then we have councilors who are willing to say, I just can't not pay people and lay people off when they know that just on the other side of that door, there's more money than they will ever see in their entire lives.
If you guys
can't do it.
You're like a millennial like me. I picture whatever, the Scrooge McDuck diving into that thing from DuckTales.
Absolutely.
Because it is just like, it's just so ridiculous, and you're just living in a fantasy or some kind of delusion if you're like, there's nothing we can do. These cuts are so drastic, and then the county's got, like you said, preschool for all. We've got PSEF at the city. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I understand, the legal barriers, but that's why I'm supportive of I keep calling it Nicole's idea. I don't know if Nicole came up with it, but we need a referendum on like, let's get this PSF bullshit figured out. And
Yeah.
like, if it's another vote and we create some sort of general fund, the polling is there that supports it, that people want to tap into that money to use it for city services.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's like 60% of people support that.
I know. Well, yeah. They support going after the police. I mean, it's the same thing with OCPA, right?
Yeah.
We pay more. Samir Kanal called it like disdain, I think, for the voter. No, people really didn't know what they were voting for. They didn't know when they voted for 5% of the police budget size. They didn't know how big that was. They didn't do the math to know that $16 million is way, way too much money.
And also because you said PSEF was 2018.
PSEF was 2018.
Like, to me, that's just anything pre-2020 is just so drastically different. Like, we were on the upswing, maybe starting to shift at that point. Portland was a completely different landscape back then.
We had a different vision of the future.
And that's not even getting into the whole issue of accruing way more money. I'm just saying Portland was in a very different spot at that point than it is almost 10 years later.
I just don't think 65% yes vote, and then you've changed out probably 45% of the voter pool. You've changed the economic landscape. You've changed the way that the country looks and the way people are thinking about their futures. I don't think any rational person could sit here and tell us Oregonians, Portlanders would approve PSEF again.
Yeah.
No.
Or at least in this, like I said, budget environment, they're like,
no,
let's
insane.
Absolutely tap into that and fund some of the city that we're fucking making a huge deal about. And I understand it. Yeah, like all these bureaus need the money.
Yeah. But just so people know where I land, PSEF for MOTA, yes. I don't even like the MOTA deal, but PSEF for MOTA, yeah. PSEF for police, yes. PSEF to pay for anything. Yes. I want the thing abolished. I think it's a monstrosity.
It's kind of like Eric, I think it was on Kristen's show, and we did an episode with him one time. He was like, they just needed to take the C and the E out and just call it the Portland Fund.
Yeah, there you go. Portland Fund.
Like,
yeah, it's stupid. And stop with the will of the voter shit. What voter? Which voter? Which
and
voter?
also, like we've harped on a million times, these guys can say that all they want, but they're voting for their party over all these people.
It's all show. Yeah. It's all show. Yes. The organizations that show up to defend PSEF every time are the same organizations that get paid out by PSEF. It's the same thing. The unions that show up to oppose budget cuts and austerity are the same unions that are like, that's their job.
Right.
That's fine. But again, it's like, do you absolutely trust a used car salesman? No, he's trying to sell you a car. You can trust him like maybe a little bit and maybe have a reputation. You can check his reviews, but you got to kick the tires a bit. You can't just be like, well, 9 out of 10 used car salesmen really want me to buy this car off their lot. Of course they do. That's their job. That's their job.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. You can't fault them for that, but like maybe use your head.
Yeah, we talked about, I was going to move on to the primary stuff.
Yeah.
Or actually, I was going to ask you really quick. So is there any interest like from the council side or anyone besides Bob Weinstein that like is like, we need to figure out this tiebreaker thing?
Yes.
Is there anybody supporting?
Loretta Smith is the champion of it. And for that's like probably the best thing I can say about Loretta Smith. She knows this is wrong. Dan Ryan is with her on that. I haven't spoken to Eric Zimmerman about this personally. I get the impression from the tone in the room that it is essentially it's the only 4 people that I really am excited about continuing in their jobs in any capacity, which is Loretta Smith, Dan Ryan, Olivia Clark, Eric Zimmerman. Those are the only 4 consistently or nearly. Again, I have quibbles with each of them, sometimes very serious ones, but the 4 of them at least seem to be trying to make this thing work.
These are, some might say, the adults.
The adults in the room. Alana is an adult in the room, but I just don't think she has a horse in that race. I think she's fine. I mean, I think Alana is a hyper-progressive Portlander, and I think she wants a really strong council. I think Novick wants a really, really strong council. And I think, this is one of those really ugly things where the answer is so obvious to me. I mean, read Bob's piece.
Yeah.
It's not you don't have to have a law degree to understand that part of the charter.
Yeah.
It's like 2 to 3 sentences.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a law degree also to understand that, I don't know. Sometimes I'll have people on here, and I'm not trying to shade Kristen, but like even Kristen, sometimes she'll like kind of defend the current council and be like, well, they're doing this stuff. And I'm like, look, they're not doing anything. They're not getting anything done. Like,
well, yeah, she also does we voted for this. We deserve
Yeah.
it. There's a real fatalistic, like, we deserve this. We do not deserve this.
Yeah.
We didn't vote for this.
Or even if you did, it's like, this is not, I keep bringing up the recent DHM polling, and these guys say they felt bamboozled by the representative piece of the charter. And that's why I'm like, even if you did vote for it, you kind of got buyer's remorse at the very least at this point of like, what are these guys doing? That I don't know if they get bi-weekly paychecks or monthly, but we've been paying these guys for a long time, and they're like, you can count the number of things they've done on one hand almost, it's like,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. So primaries.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I had on here was kind of what we just talked about, I did so many episodes on the gas tax and no tax Oregon, and
sure,
but I just thought, it's just a real interesting bellwether of Oregon's tax environment and the disconnection between where the public is at and where a lot of these officials are at because they're raising all these taxes.
Yeah.
And I wrote down on here again, I mentioned a second ago, who are the people voting yes for this gas and payroll tax increase? Maybe it's some of the DSA.
Yeah,
and I'll put my joke in here again about definitely super rich assholes. Like
Yeah.
you said, they're overwhelmingly white and wealthy. So anyway,
They are, yeah, and it definitely is them. Again, income got to go up. Always income up. Like, if you don't care about all the bigotry that I've pointed out from the DSA, if you don't care how ugly their politics are, just please understand their plan was to get into office and accrue power. They don't have a big plan past that point. They just knew that they needed power. And their plan with your taxes is to increase income, and they will figure out what to spend it on later. They want more power, more money, more power, more money. And they believe that, like, socialism is inherently right. So the good will win out eventually if they can just amass all the power and all the money.
Much like the piles of money we just talked about,
yes,
that are sitting there.
So understand that if you think I'm an asshole, if you think I'm right wing, if you think Mitch Green is a really swell guy, okay, he is still going to vote yes to raise your taxes every single So just think about it from that lens.
Yeah.
Just think about it from, I think he's swell. I think he's got a beautiful singing voice, and I love seeing him do karaoke at the 21st Avenue Bar and Grill. But he keeps raising my damn taxes.
Right.
Think about it like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do to get to the realization.
Or make it harder for restaurants or whatever. I don't know what's
Yes.
going on with that thing. But yeah, I just wanted to get that Measure 120 thing out of the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, the primary win stuff, I was just going to say, I mentioned this at the top of the show with you, but like, there was even some Oregonian articles that frame these DSA primary wins as like grassroots. And I'm like, we got to stop. It's just like I said at the top of the show, these guys are powered by the darkest, most special interest money you can think of.
The Oregonian highlighted that Tammy Carpenter said she wouldn't take money from billionaires and she wouldn't take money from corporations, and then she immediately took a truckload of both.
Yeah.
She took
you mentioned some tech bro that she got money from?
Yes, there was a tech billionaire that gave her money. There was this corporate CEOs gave her money. The SEIU showered her in cash. She even admitted in the Oregonian interview that she planned on outspending her opponent by an amount that was disgusting even to her and seemed like a violation of her campaign promises. But, you got to get in that door and get that power first. And so if you got to get a little dirty to get in the door, well, then now you can change the system from the inside. And we have heard this before. This is drain the swamp. I mean, this is every populist con artist in the history of American politics. They are not grassroots. You've been right the whole time.
Yeah, it's not. It's
They're
like
astroturfed.
gold roots or something. I don't know. It's 14 karat gold
They're
grass.
astroturfed. They are astroturfed with some foreign money. And you can hate Trump however much you want, but the Trump administration is going after a lot of these kids for foreign malign interference, and we'll see how those cases go. I don't know. There is a lot of shiftiness with some of this money. There's a lot of shiftiness with the money, but primarily, again, back to the Mike Schmidt, and I'll bring him up again in a second, but the Mike Schmidt race, that dude was showered in cash from billionaires from the East Coast. That's just factual. Willamette Week has 4 articles on it, and we just have forgotten this. And so again,
you mentioned large. We talked a lot about this on our last episode. You and I did about they got a large check from Working Families Party. They're kind of a conduit for a lot of this big money.
Working Families Party, SEIU, they funnel huge amounts of money in.
And you know, I don't know. I just drive me crazy with this stuff. It sounds great. You know, I understand people working families sounds great, but it's just like a, it's like when you walk by like a front business, like one of these mattress places or something. You're just like, hey, there's nobody working in there.
And there's no,
it's
and
just
never
a pass through for money. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's like the front.
Yeah. So,
and I wanted to mention that too, because it's like, you know, there's this whole national playbook going on with these primary, like Oregon's easy to come in and do that, especially when you're pumped full of money with these orgs and special interests. But there's also this other side of this. You probably know the name of the person, the Texas candidate who lost the primary, who AOC called out. She wanted to put Jews in camps and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, she wanted me in a concentration camp and castrated.
Castrated, yeah. Well, and her thing was like castrate PDF files, but she said, and then also said most Jewish people are that.
That's
or something.
So this is it. You always get there. It's like, well, I only want to go after the pedophiles, which of course are Jews.
Yeah, and I wrote down she's a DSA fever dream, but she got to the point where, like I said, AOC and everyone was like, we're not touching this candidate because she's like wacko.
Yeah.
And she did lose the primary, but it's just interesting when you look at the national landscape of like, and I don't even know if she's technically DSA, but she's in that same ideology.
No, she's in that same ideology. I don't think she's a DSA member. She got a tremendous percentage of the vote, though. It was
close. Still,
yeah, it was like it was like almost 40% of people voted for her. That is deeply embarrassing. And again, it's the Tammy Carpenter stuff is not hard. Willamette Week keeps reporting that she got a complaint because she asked for an end to the war in Gaza. That is not what the complaint was. It is so easy to find what she said. It is so, I have reported it numerous times. This is the Yasmin Hanoush story. Yasmin Hanoush, the I am Hamas, we are all Hamas professor.
Who is now suing
this
the
and they're like,
university.
well, she got in trouble for a remark she says is sarcastic at an event that was against the war in Gaza. That's not what that event was for.
Yeah.
Like, these are fundamental factual problems with the reporting around these issues. And so these people have very Googleable views. Graham Plattner in Maine has a Nazi, covered up a Nazi tattoo.
Removed it or
he
something.
Didn't cover up a tattoo that sort of looked it was a Totenkopf. It was a Nazi tattoo. The dude is a Nazi.
Yeah.
Or was a Nazi, and now he feels bad about being a Nazi. And that's fine. And he can go live his life as a clam fisherman or whatever, and I wish him all the best. But these are just very Googleable things.
Yeah, and I know that he's got other stuff about, old tweets that call people trash, poor people trash,
and making fun of soldiers getting shot in the line of duty, and just the Hassan Piker crap, like the
always
exquisite ugliness of all of this, the hatred, the bigotry, the pro-violence. Tammy Carpenter celebrating her campaign, her primary win, changed her profile pic on social media to celebrate the arsonist and attempted murderer in that California paper warehouse.
Huh.
She changed the quote of like his whatever stupid manifesto, you just had to pay us enough to live or whatever, before he, set a factory on fire without letting his coworkers know that he had done so, risking over 20 human lives because he is a piece of crap. Tammy Carpenter changed her profile pic to his quote. Just celebrating him because he's a comrade and a class warrior. They love murderers. They love Luigi Mangione.
Well, that's what it's always comes to this tipping point of like, the person that I was talking about where it gets to be like, hey, that's too extreme. Can't have this person.
Yeah.
But it's right on that line of like, the Hassan Piker folks who are like, it's okay to steal and murder.
Yeah.
Until
you murder the right
until
people.
It's not. And then you're you can't just and then you're cast out. But it's just interesting to look at that whole landscape of like, these Oregon wins, at least in the primary stage, they're kind of right at that point of like, they're not quite, I mean, some of them probably are. I guess Tammy is.
Tammy's a little over the line. Tammy's a little over the line.
But they're so close to just celebrating, murdering people. And in some cases doing that.
Yeah, and the ones who aren't are fine standing beside it, right? This was always, I mean, this is the issue that Oregonian Republican candidates have. Is because they'll get called out in a town hall and it's like, hey, can you say something about the ICE situation? And they go, well, borders are tough. They just won't call out the excesses. And that's a huge dock against them. It's the same thing. I have never, I don't have any evidence that Myrna Munoz has said anything particularly anti-Semitic on the campaign trail. She's perfectly happy standing arm in arm with people who have, though. And again, not secretly, not privately, very, very searchable beliefs. Very easy to find what these people believe and how odious it is. And yet, you know, just fighting for that better world. So I'll just make a lot of really, really awful allies. Yeah, it's exhausting. So I'm looking forward to trying to figure out how to endorse Republicans this year.
Right. Well, yeah, I was going to say that's, you know, obviously the primary, they will face a general election challenger in most cases.
Safe blue districts.
Yeah, Oregon's also kind of like a lot of these districts, they may not even run a candidate because they just know it's an uphill battle and it's not going to happen.
I can cross my fingers and hope there's some halfway decent people that are running. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I haven't. I'll be to be fair, I have not really looked at Tammy Carpenter's opponent. I think he's a.
I think I did.
I think he's a veterinarian.
Yeah,
he seemed on the surface level like a nice enough guy, but not like a. Yeah. Well, I don't want to.
It didn't seem like a likely win, but like, I did look at him.
But he was like, you know, he loves animals. That's right. I found like a really nice thing about him. That's cool.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention really quick, and I'll just preface this with saying, you know, I support vote by mail. That's how I vote. But just with this primary stuff specifically, like this was one of the, I don't know, this may be a strategy of DSA, but it was one of those where it was like, hey, you know, the returns on election night looked one way. Some of these later arriving ballots swung things in the other direction. Yeah. And I just want to point out that Oregon is one of the states, Washington's a much more extreme example, that a lot of that will likely change. That might be one of the last primaries where some of those late ballots are accepted. This SCOTUS decision is probably going to happen in June. Yep. They're probably going to strike down some of these, especially the extreme examples like Washington, where they almost allow like a full 30 days after for late arriving ballots. Yeah. So it's really going to affect places like Oregon, Washington, with these kind of results where it's like, hey, things are going to swing up to 5 days after election day because this whole, you know, this decision's all around like the federal government deems that at least in the general election, the first Tuesday in November is election day, and we got to acknowledge time as a reality, and that like we can't just let these things be accepted months after, or you know. So I just want to point that out. Like I'm saying this apolitically as possible, but stuff like these results that we just saw might change in the future because of this ruling for Oregon.
I mean, this is so late ballots break left is the classic statistic. We also know that some of these very lefty orgs go do ballot collection. I don't know how I feel, but there have been Republicans that have proposed legislation to ban ballot collecting.
Right. They would call harvesting.
The idea that you can go drive around in selective neighborhoods. That might hit people the wrong way. I just want to, for a second, remind everybody I'm from Arkansas. So when I think of a tiny minority group who has been disenfranchised from having a voice in politics, but has a deep, passionate, weirdo base, I'm usually thinking of like extreme evangelical right-wing disaster preppers.
Yeah.
So
living on acres of disaster prep.
So I don't love the idea that like their apocalypse church could rent a van and go to everybody's house and collect all the ballots and get a huge ballot dump at the end. This is also why I don't love our single transferable vote system, because in my home state, Arkansans are pretty chill. They elect like pretty okay leaders. But if you got this like 25% in a feather, which is actually more like 6% in a feather, whatever. This system is how you would accidentally get a Klans member on your city council.
Some kind of wacko.
Some real extremist. These are very abusable systems. So I don't like the practice of the ballot harvesting. That hits me wrong. Again, just because I'm coming from a place where the most marginalized voice in my hometown is a voice you want very marginalized.
And I don't know. Like I said, I support vote by mail for those, and especially in rural areas, it's helpful. But I also think that there's a reason we have a day, and like you can't just have a window that just rolls forever. And Oregon's like more acceptable to me, but like I said, Washington State does they go up till the certified election day, which is kind of wild.
It's also worth talking about those DSA wins, Munoz, and especially the Beaverton wins. So Tammy Carpenter.
Yeah.
their turnout was pathetic. It was super, super low. It was embarrassingly low. And I mean, it kind of always is.
Right.
But it is telling that, like, with these weaker systems or more easily exploitable systems,
and also
the DSA is doing well as long as the voice of the people isn't showing up very loudly, or in areas like your district, which are like massively overrepresented for socialists.
Right.
That's kind of fair ball. Angelita Murillo winning an election is gross to me, but it's fair.
Right. You can see that.
Yeah. But the fact that the DSA is sending people out into these districts where they're like, yeah, on a primary and a midterm, they typically only really show up about 45%. And you go, ew, 45, that's awful.
Yeah, well, I was also considering that, I think Tammy, at least, I'm not sure about the other race, but I think they were both over 100K, which to me, it's just
way too much money.
Mind-blowing for a state rep position.
Way too much money.
Because considering what you just said about the turnout, it's like that's the whole reason
you're
doing that, is to try to drive
people.
turnout up for your candidate.
No,
and
it's
like
wild.
If that money didn't really do anything, it's just going through the cycle of these powerful orgs.
Yeah, the price per vote is disgusting. This is not what unions are for. This is not what nonprofits should be for.
Yeah.
This is not what we should be spending our time and our money on our efforts on.
Yeah. It's something I think about sometimes, because I've been a part of several unions, mostly by like almost a requirement, but it's like when you're part of those, I just can't imagine being somebody who's like, I don't really support Tammy, but I'm part of this union. And the entire union's like, that's your decision. That's what the decision we've made. We're going to just pump your money into this candidate.
Oh, yeah. I
just feel bad for those folks that are, they may not even know who to go with, but they just don't support like crazy people.
No, it's not what a union should be for. A union should be fighting for working conditions. That's essentially it. I mean, that's it. I don't want...
Yeah. Imagine that 100,000 that Tammy or whatever got going into working conditions instead of an election that got shitty turnout. It's like, I don't know.
I was actually stoked a few years ago when Planned Parenthood announced that they were pulling back from a lot of the candidate endorsement stuff. I was like, that's awesome, because what I want
that money into something.
Yeah, into your stated goal. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, if Planned Parenthood wants to get involved on sponsoring legislation that benefits them, that's a whole different ballgame.
And they probably have their special nonprofit arm to deal with that.
Sure, and that's what you're there for. Basically. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Friends of Cooch Park. We can't advocate for candidates, but we can advocate for. Say we could have a voice on the parks levy. Right, we're allowed to do that as a nonprofit, and that's this. I view the same thing. I'm fine with groups doing that, but this idea that there's just like this whole shell game of these action funds,
right?
Like, it's I really like Latino org. Like, I really Latino network. I really like what they do, most of what they do, and then their action arm is a giant embarrassment. And it makes me sad, because I know a lot of people who work for the Latino network who are very good people. And again, their after school programs, the sports programs, I love and want to support. And then I see who they endorse for city council or for state rep or whatever. And I'm like, that hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts to see that, because that person is not going to advance the actual goal of the Latino network. That's a huge bummer.
Yeah. Let me see here. I was going to go to, we talked a little bit about it already, but I'm just, I've been telling everyone, I think this LA mayor's race is an interesting bellwether for the whole West Coast, because San Francisco already kind of has what I would call a more moderate mayor. I think he got in there a couple years ago.
Yep.
But this would be like basically a takedown of everyone who criticizes like these industrial complexes of homelessness and nonprofits. And it could be a long shot, could be totally wrong. I saw a poll yesterday that showed him actually leading Karen Bass by like a point. But I don't know. I just think it's, for Portland and places like on the West Coast that are kind of similar to LA, it could be a game changer as far as like, hey, getting into local government as somebody with a platform that is focused on what you're seeing and hearing on your streets, is more possible. So I don't know.
Results oriented. They interviewed one of the city. I don't know.
I think there is a DSA
Yeah.
counselors running for mayor, right?
No, there is. San Francisco is not an area I'm super familiar with, so like I'm going to say the wrong words. I don't know if they have a city council or they're like aldermen or whatever they
the
call their
terminology, yeah.
But one of the members of their, I will just say city council. Apologize to Bay Area residents. It's like a very progressive man who was interviewed, I think, last year, and he said the first time he ran on like identity politics and culture war stuff. And the second time he ran, he had to switch entirely his approach to run on results and pragmatism because the San Franciscans were just like, yeah, it's great. I love that you're gay, but like, does the stuff work?
Right.
Like, it's so cool. I'm
Yeah.
happy. I want to vote for the gay counselor or commissioner who also makes stuff work.
Yeah, because it's like the identity stuff can go so far, but I think San Francisco got to a point where like we got the poop tracker app, like our city is like just a shell of what it used to be, and it got to a point where like they eventually got to do mayor, who was a little bit different from the traditional kind of.
Yes, and that was like the whole point of the San Francisco thing is they weren't like, we want to go back to straight white dudes because they can get stuff done. It was like, no, we love a diverse council. But you need to do stuff. Right. You must do things. It has to be.
The city can't look the same as it did, 4 years ago.
You have to be effective. We can be progressive and cuddly and have all the identity stuff, but it cannot be the primary focus. Efficacy has to be the primary focus.
It's a little weird to me, too, because it's like a lot of this stuff that I've seen following the LA mayor stuff is like, people like you and me and on this, I've been talking about this stuff for 3 years in Portland.
Sure.
But it's just like, I think it's come to a head in LA and people are just like, we're kind of done with this billions of dollars that we poured into the system and it's not doing anything.
And it doesn't, help that the fires are almost certainly set by an arsonist.
Right. Yeah.
Who had political views that are much more in line with the DSA.
Oh, okay.
He was inspired by
that. I knew there was arson,
he loves Luigi Mangione. Right. This is the arsonist in Ontario, California, that Tammy Carpenter quoted, compared himself to Luigi Mangione, expressed extremely lefty
views. This is the guy
views.
you were talking about a second ago. Yeah.
And if you go on, again, if you go onto Blue Sky, asterisk, do not go onto Blue Sky. But if you do what I do and hurt yourself regularly for your job, you will go see people being like, I'm seeing warehouse and construction fires all over the country. It's happening. It's the Rev has cut like,
wow.
Yeah, it's wild, especially behind anonymous accounts. What these kids will admit that they love the Mac Club bomber. They love the arsonist in Ontario, California. Again, thankfully, he killed no one.
Yeah. Now is that there? Seems like historically that's always the thing. It's like, let's try to do this without any injuries or casualties.
Yeah, they want to do
even though that's a risk.
Exactly. They want to do maximum financial damage. If you go back to the Weather Underground, right? The Weather Underground. Right. They tried not to kill anyone. Yeah, I'm sorry. Setting my city on fire is like, gee golly, thanks for not killing anybody. No. Yeah. It's not good enough for me.
I feel like Portland hopefully learned that lesson in 2020, 2021 of like, that's probably not a good idea to start lighting your city on fire.
Oh, man. Yeah, one of those kids during 2021, like he was lighting a Starbucks on fire. The Starbucks was in the ground floor of an occupied apartment complex.
Right, yeah.
You're like, what?
Or the same with the jail downtown.
Yes.
That's what I've heard from so many different people, including people that worked at the jail, of like they're trying to light that on fire with the inmates inside, who are like the people that you want to support.
Yeah, and this is where I thought we had too much patience with the like, oh, they're just dumb kids, they didn't think about it. No, attempted murder charges. No, I'm sorry, attempted murder charges.
Right,
yeah, I'm like, I am willing to destroy the life of one person to send a signal that we do not set occupied buildings on fire. We don't. Like, try that person for murder. Absolutely. Or attempted murder. Absolutely.
I don't know. Is there anything else I want to say about that? I was going to move on to, we kind of did this already, but some forecasting for the general election in November. Like I mentioned earlier, knives are out for Novick. My suggestion to everyone is don't rank any incumbent in D3.
Okay.
And ditch Mitch. That's my advice.
This is the crux of my don't rank the DSA argument. It's really easy. I don't need your money. I don't need any of your time. I don't need you to learn anything you don't want to learn. I don't need you to watch any videos. I need you to not do something.
Yeah.
Just understand you don't have to fill out that whole ballot. Democracy does not die if your ballot is not filled out. You are not required to rank 6 people. In fact, it is not strategically advantageous to rank 6 people unless you happen to really like 6 of them. If you do, then
Which
no
seems
shit.
difficult, but
Very difficult. There was one guy who testified on day 1 of the budget, and he's like, I'm like the only Portlander that loves all 12 of you. He was I kind of love
Wow,
that guy.
okay.
He was like, I just think you're all just doing
He's
a
a nice
bang up
guy.
job. Really nice guy. He loves all of them. So he should rank 6 people. He's fun.
or 12. I
You're
guess. I don't
12.
know.
Just fill them all in.
Not that, yeah, I know this one's
you
not
do
that many, but
not need to rank 6 people.
Yeah.
You don't need to rank 3 people. You technically don't need to rank 1. Please rank 1. Please don't leave it under bubbled. The undervotes are tragic. Do not rank the DSA period. Do not rank Mitch Green 6th because he was nice to you once at a party. Do not rank Jeremy Beausoleil Smith 5th because you like his hair. Like, there was way too much of that crap the first time around.
Yeah.
Brandon Mullen is a do not rank in this district from me. Do not rank Brandon Mullen. I don't care if you had a good conversation with him on Reddit. Also, you can find him easily on Reddit. He's on Reddit a lot.
Also, by the way, this guy he's emailed me like really long emails a couple times. I'll try to meet up with him at some point.
Sure.
He really wants to get coffee or something,
Great.
but I'm just like, dude, I work 5 days a week. I do this show and
Great.
I don't have a lot of time. But
I encourage you to have him on.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second. But my ask for don't rank DSA is I just need you to not do something. I don't want your money. I don't want your time or your effort or your energy. I want less from you. I just don't rank the DSA. It is simply that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, because like, you know, the whatever hour or whatever we've been talking, it's like, to me, this is what you get, is you get like nothing accomplished, you get bickering, you get 0 adults in the room.
Yes.
And you get a bunch of people trying to get followers on social media. That's
Yeah.
kind of what you get. And I've been calling them clickbait candidates. It's like
Yes.
people that sound really good. You might even think they're cool to hang out with. At the end of the day, we need leadership and we need adults and we need people that like accomplish things. And
I will take adults I disagree with.
Yeah.
We must take adults we disagree with because Portland is a diverse place-ish viewpoint-wise. Alana Pertleguiney deserves her seat. I disagree with her all the time. She still deserves her seat. She's still doing the job she was elected to do. I am, routinely upset with Loretta Smith. She's doing the job she was elected to do. I want 12 people who disagree. This is that whole strong 7th, Angelita Murillo's strong 7th versus our 7 adults in the room.
Right.
7 adults. I mean, I'd love 12 adults in the room. Again, to something I said a bajillion episodes ago, we're never going to get it. It's Portland. But 7 adults in the room still disagree. 7 adults in the room are still having a debate. Strong 7th is a block that will steamroll this city.
yeah.
Like,
If you like the foie gras restaurant banning, we're going to get, you'll get endless
endless bans.
measures like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
shrimp will be banned by the end of the
Right.
year if you can get that strong 7th. It's shit. Stop doing it. So don't rank the DSA. But yeah, I mean, my predictions. Let's talk about D3. D3 is the most important. I mean,
Yeah.
I love D4. I love my neighborhood, but D3 is the most important. The DSA is going to try to cut into Steve's numbers tremendously. They're going to try to paint him as a moderate or a coward and a bootlicker because they need to get Angelita into that number 1 spot. And that way it becomes a Kelly Torres, Steve Novick, and Tiffany Koyama Lane fight. They would really like it to also be a Brandon Mullen fight because they're very, very comfortable with him. Brandon Mullen, big supporter, talk about taxes, delivery fees.
Right. Yeah. I think I saw in your article he was proposing some
Brandon Mullen is
thing that Mitch chimed in.
he and Mitch
about,
got a little
yeah.
handshake emoji over hot food delivery fees and package delivery fees, which are coming, by the way. Those are coming.
Yeah, I think they already existed definitely for food delivery.
Yeah, but they're adding more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Peabot is cooking up the books on exactly how to implement them to get even more Peabot money. Mitch and Samir are very excited about it, and yeah, they're probably going to get Steve Novick as their 7th damn vote again.
Probably.
Which is why I can't endorse Steve for
Right.
District 3.
Right.
But I guess if you still like his bullshit, vote for him if you want. Kelly Torres, I mean, the people you've had on have largely been a good... Kelly Torres is a strong contender. I mean, I'm going to probably rank her somewhere in that Alana Pertleguiney range where
Yeah,
she's like to the
definitely,
left. She's to the left of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to disagree with her on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and
it's fine. She's deeply competent.
Yeah, I told her she's the most viable, and just to be totally honest, like sometimes with the folks, including her, like, I think she's great, but I also like get really frustrated. I'm like, I would just be going crazy. I'm like, you are the adult in the room. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's okay to say things that I just get really tired of, like, candidates in the candidacy phase, especially, have way more freedom. I know she's a city employee, and that's probably why
I
she's
know.
being
Yeah.
safe. But I'm just like, it's okay to go on offense with some of these guys. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's okay to point out that a plan is not something I do, but like actually I think it's a disastrous plan.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad plan. I oppose it fundamentally. I
Yeah,
think it is
it's
a
totally
stupid
fine.
idea.
And I think
you can say that.
you'll find that a lot of Portlanders agree with you, because people are unhappy, as we, I've talked about endlessly about these approval rating with city councils, like 20, close to 20%.
Yeah.
People are very unhappy with them. I think people are in particular really unhappy with the Peacocks,
Yeah.
because of their kind of juvenile nature.
Yeah. For any of the DSA Blue Sky users who complain about me all the time and have no idea why anybody listens to me, I'm nothing special. I'm just saying the crap that people say behind closed doors all the time.
Yeah.
That's it. And candidates can do that. Candidates can
there's
just get on the mic and say,
and like I said, she's still a city employee, but people that aren't in that situation,
yes.
you can say whatever you want. You're not bound by anything. And that's why sometimes I get frustrated with people that are in that boat and they're just like playing it super safe. It's like, look, these, like, all the people that these incumbents who want Novick, they're not going to do that. They're going to play dirty.
Oh, they're
the next
already
4 months.
They've called
it's going
him
to be real ugly.
Yeah,
you know?
Murillo is perfectly comfortable. Let's talk about Angelina Murillo for a second. Mike Schmidt, absolute coward. Mike Schmidt.
He's doing a podcast. I haven't watched it yet. But
That's what I want to talk about.
Or...
So Mike Schmidt did the most spineless thing this week that I have seen out of him, and this is a guy I loathe. I mean, just a garbage tier human being.
He didn't really have a spine to begin with.
No, but this is so. He had last episode before last, he had John Isaacs on Metro Chamber. John is his friend of many years. He had John on to make the case that the DSA is not good for Portland. I would say bad for Portland. I think John did a good enough job. And Mike was a dodge the whole time. He just wiggled with no spine the whole time, wouldn't really engage in the conversation or treat John's points like they were very valid, which is fine. Whatever. If you disagree with me, you don't need to fluff up my points. But he ended that show. It's his most successful, most downloaded show, in part because I helped share it everywhere. It's fine. A lot of people listened to that episode, Mike, if you ever hear this.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, day before, his season finale, he has Angelina Murillo on for the rebuttal.
Oh, okay. Responding in a different episode.
There you go. So they sit down and have a talk about what John Isaac said, and Murillo invents a straw man of his arguments. She invents a straw man of my arguments and people like me. And she battles this straw man, and Mike claps like a trained seal. It is the most dishonest shit. Mike is, again, allegedly an attorney. I've heard rumor that at some point he was an attorney. Yes, allegedly he's an attorney, so he knows what he's doing. Yeah. Angelina Murillo will never come on this podcast. She will never.
Well, let's not. I was gonna say, hey, if they both want to come on, you guys can both come on.
No,
John,
invite them.
Yeah.
Here's my challenge. They won't do it.
No,
because they're cowards.
Well, I agree. Like you said a long time ago, and I've asked Angelina outright many times, but
you should always invite them.
Like and Mitch too. I've asked these people, but I
love it.
They're welcome on, but
they won't do it.
Yeah, like you said a long time ago, they just like there's something about these long form things that just makes them kind of squirm.
They cannot stand up to criticism. Angelina Murillo's temper is so barely controlled in any given moment. And listen, we can smell our own. I know it because I recognize it. I'm an angry person. She cannot stand up to jabs. She can't stand up in that moment.
Yeah.
So what she does is then she has her buddy Mike Schmidt have her on and softballs this Pete Rose ass interview so that she can very calmly and in a friendly, fluffy way deconstruct a straw man of John's arguments, a straw man of our arguments, and Mike can go, yeah, see, makes sense. Now everybody has heard your rebuttal.
Right.
That is such a dishonest and manipulative framing, and it's a disservice to John Isaacs.
Yeah.
They are allegedly friends.
Right.
I mean, I don't know either of them well, but man, that is so disrespectful to have your friend on your podcast ask him his honest opinion on something, dodge and kind of duck around it and make it seem like he's being a little silly, and then shoot a finale episode dunking.
Yeah, I can say as somebody who's done this show for 2 years, like that's somebody that he's probably not going to come back. I don't know, like it's just one of those things risk of like burning a guest and burning that bridge. Oh, if you do something like that.
I mean, listen, I can't speak for John, and I don't know John very well. I hope that bridge is burned. I feel bad for John. Like that was a dick move.
Yeah,
for anyone. Like, I'm never going to sit here and criticize Angelita Murillo and then turn down an opportunity to chat with her. It's never going to happen. I will chat with her any day.
Yeah. And I would say, too, for me, I just as a host on here, too, like distinguish between electeds and candidates. I think there's a big difference. And I think electeds have a way higher standard of like there's an expectation, for at least for me as a constituent of people like that, to be more open to come on platforms like this or anywhere where it's like you're going to talk to everybody, and including people that are in your district. By the way, I'm a D3 person.
No, so this is it. When I said she'll never come on here, I'm like, keep inviting her and if she ever does, like, this is my challenge. Prove me wrong.
It's like verbatim when I've told her, it's like, you're always welcome on the show.
Yes, so, prove me wrong. I have tried to invite myself a few times onto a couple of these podcasts, and some of them I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Not Mike Schmidt. I've had no such conversation with him. They're like, that'd be really interesting. And then they always get really busy. But then Jonathan Mowles will be popping off on Blue Sky where it's like, Max would never debate me because he's a coward. And so I have to shoot into his DMs again and go, Jonathan, are you busy again? Because I'll come to your shed anytime you would like. They cannot stomach a real conversation.
Is it a shed, is it?
It's so...
the same thing with Jonathan. If he and you want to come on here and talk, I'll set that up. You guys can hash it out.
Anybody who wants to chat with me, invite me on a thing, and I expect the same from everybody else. Yeah. But they won't do it.
Yeah, and I think to play devil's advocate maybe a little bit, it's like I think everyone, not even in Portland, like there is this like social media siloing that happens where people won't go on each other's shows and stuff, and I disagree with that. I think everyone should do whatever. Like if I got invited to any of those, I would do it. I would go on there.
Happy to go on CityCast or wherever the hell. Yeah. But again, to your point, the silos don't benefit us. But it's just this idea. It's this cowardly idea of like. Kelly Torres has to be careful, or it has to. All of these really nice candidates, I think, are strong candidates. I think Eli Arnold is a strong candidate in D4. He's so careful, and I appreciate that. I get why he's careful.
I would say the same thing about him. It's like, it's okay to be more critical.
Yes, but then because your opposition is going to go on very safe podcasts where nobody is going to give them shit, and they're just gonna unload and laugh the whole time because they're in a tiny little safe bubble. They're not stepping outside those bubbles. This is why you can be a little more aggressive to them. They will wilt under the pressure. These are fragile people. The DSA keeps Angelita Murillo wrapped up like a little Precious Moments doll in some bubble wrap. They don't let mean thing, like she can say that she replies to mean comments and she gets threatening emails. That is not the same as agreeing. Nothing. And I would be an asshole to her if we met. I'll just be transparent. John Isaacs wouldn't. John Isaacs is a really nice guy. Yeah, she should sit down and chat with him if she wants to hash this out.
They have to kind of maintain a working relationship. Sure. And I understand too, like a lot of candidates feel that way, and incumbents. It's like, I think that's why they play it so safe, is like they think, hey, 6 months from now, I might have to work with this person. Sure. I get it. But like I said, these incumbents are going to play super dirty, and it's okay for you to be critical and play on some offense sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially as a candidate. I wanted to mention real quick, I mentioned this in an Instagram story I did, but I track the small donor election match, like, and how that progresses. I just said, maybe somebody's had this idea before, but I'm just on this thing now of like, if I could wave my magic wand of policy and change things, I would just completely disable matching funds for incumbents. I just think it's a horrible idea. I think these guys get to $100,000 in like months because they have name recognition, because you're an incumbent. That's how it works in fundraising. And so I think it's okay. They can do the normal classic fundraising if they want to do that.
Sure.
We're not going to take taxpayer money and give them 10 times as an incumbent.
It's tricky,
or
right?
at least half.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Some sort of
I'll make a compromise, but I'm just like, I don't think it's fair for newcomers who aren't incumbents to not have name recognition to face an uphill battle of these
Okay.
people that have war chests that they build over like 2 months. And
Sure.
anyway, I just wanted to float that. And
No, that's interesting because the match is supposed to be to counteract all this, like, you know,
corporate
dark money and
or whatever, yeah.
corporate money.
Yeah.
I love the corporate money. Oh.
Which I don't
We
even
know
think
where
it's
the-
allowed anymore. And
Well, no, we
city
know where
elections.
the money comes from.
Yeah.
The money comes from the damn unions. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. So this is a problem. So Eli Arnold has raised, I think, a nice little war chest.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with him. I don't know. I haven't checked Kelly's numbers, but she's doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
But Angelita Murillo, Tiffany Koyama-Lane, etc. Tiffany Koyama-Lane, you know, was like one of the biggest fundraisers last time. But she also got a huge share of what was left in the Working Families Party pot
Right.
after lining Mike Schmidt's war chest.
You mentioned that last time. Yeah. Like she got the remainder.
Well, they spread it.
portion
They
of
spread
this.
it out a little bit. They gave some to Samir as well, and you used to be able to see this on their websites. Samir was smart enough to take his campaign website down, so you don't see all the legally required stuff.
He's
at
going
the
to bring
bottom.
that back up in a couple
he's
years.
He's got to bring
a
it back
year or
up.
two.
Yeah, but he wants it down in the meantime, so this guy can't screenshot it. But Tiffany Koyama-Lane doesn't have her ducks in a row to the same degree, so her stuff was still up. But yeah, it's like Working Families Party is like on their required listed top contributors at the bottom of the website. Yeah, their war chests are not just that 10 or 11 to 1 match. Their war chests are also the huge piles of cash they get from all of these unions and a couple of nonprofits, but heavily unions. So this idea that the public donor match, it doesn't counteract it. It does not successfully counteract
Right.
it. All it does is it makes it so that someone like an Eli Arnold can run.
Yeah.
He's
and
still
that's why I'm
fighting.
like saying I'm supportive of that stuff for new
Yeah.
candidates, but it just it really
Yeah.
entrenches the incumbents if they're
Eli's
participating in it.
still fighting an uphill battle,
Yeah.
right? He still has to fight an uphill battle, and they want to paint him as not the little guy, right? He's not the grassroots guy because, he's a police officer and the Metro Chamber likes him. I think they like him. I don't know. I don't really talk with the Metro Chamber very often. Yeah, he's the little guy. He has
Yeah, and just
endorsements, but he does not have a giant progressive union engine behind
and he's
him.
in the minority of, like, the reason I had this idea is, like I said, I check on these fundraising efforts, I don't know, once a week or so. And if you, first of all, there's a couple weird things. If you look on open elections, there's this whole reason of why there's some real shitty programming as to why you can't see on the map. Like, if you ever been to that website, there's a map that doesn't even work. It doesn't show you, and I can get into that maybe on a different episode, but it's horrible. But if you look at the top 10 people with matched funds on there, it's like all incumbents. And then there's Eli.
Yeah, he's doing great as the little guy, but he is the little guy.
And that's why I thought of this idea of just like these incumbents, they always get in the top 10. It's super easy. Your name's out there every single day in the headlines. And it's been that way for a couple years. And even before that.
Yeah. And even if your name's out there negatively in the headlines all the damn time,
yeah, it's like
people just seem to know who you are.
You have a huge built-in advantage. And that's why if you look at the top 10 composition, it's all incumbents except for people like Eli. And so it's like, I just think there should be more balance there. The other weird thing I wanted to point out was, I think this is a filing error thing, but for some reason, Angelita has 2 different listings on there.
Oh, that is a weird. The pull down menu is
2026.
Yeah, it was like something. There was some sort of artifact that got pushed over from 24.
I think they just haven't combined them or something. But it's just, I get frustrated with that. Some volunteer should clean up that whole website because it's pretty awful.
I mean, if you've ever spent any time on Orstar, that is a pain and a half to use.
Yeah, and that's like more of a real database.
I know, but that is a pain to so slow.
Yeah.
It's so
can't have multiple tabs. I'm sure you guys know if you ever use it.
Yeah. You're better off just downloading. I have a folder full of Excel spreadsheets because I pull them down because it's like easier to browse through them that way. Oh man, it's rough. There are ways to do that better. We do have like tech sector people here that could fix it.
I know.
Well, this was always my thing with there was a ghost streetcar for a number of years. There was a streetcar that there was a ghost. They just could not track the streetcar.
It's going around.
And I'm like, Google can fix this. Google can fix this probably for free if they just put those little Google boxes in each of the. But no. There's just a ghost streetcar we
sometimes
couldn't track for years.
Technology AI world. It's like I do a lot of multimedia and stuff, and like people praise like to the end of the earth how good AI is, and then like still to this day, like Photoshop can't like trace people's bodies successfully and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, we can solve this.
The only thing I use AI for, and it is great for this, is I'm like, yo, Gemini. There was a news story downtown Portland, I think 2006. It involved like a stroller and a Max train, and the stroller almost fell in front of the Max train, but somebody grabbed the stroller and he was declared a hero, and I can't find it anywhere. Can you help me find this? And then Gemini's like, yeah, you had most of the details right, but actually it was in 2007. And like, it's great for finding the needle in the haystack. And and I don't really use it for anything else.
I probably just sound like an old guy complaining. But the other thing I was going to, just to shorten up the issue with why you go on open elections, the small donor website thing, that the map is broken is because when it first launched,
they doxed
it kind of doxed a lot of donors, basically every donor.
Yeah.
And well, fun fact, if you guys want to pop in the comments, if you use Chrome and right-click view source, you can still track that shit down. If you want to find people's addresses,
it's not good.
That's just some shitty stuff.
Oh, Angelita Murillo should go after that with the privacy stuff.
There you go. Yeah, actually, that's a good call. I was gonna bring up that it's just one of these other budget things of like, we can't find the money to do the XYZ, but then somehow she funded this like $1 million data privacy office thing. I don't know. It just kind of bugs me.
It's just sort of feel good stuff. Again, this is everything that she has this bullet point list of things that she's achieved. Most of it is pretty fake. The mask ban.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. I mean, we kind of hashed that out in the previous episode, but like I think we may have predicted it would pass, but
it doesn't.
It's like everything we said. Well, Emweek has a good article summing up like, it's flies in the face of the Ninth Circuit decision. The city attorney was like, this is illegal.
Yeah, the good news about he did cover that there's I believe it's called severance language. So it's like a little piece of language in there where like the unconstitutional part will drop away,
right,
and the rest will stand, that's okay. So it was well written for an unconstitutional.
It's ready to be.
It's ready to be
shot down.
Yeah, it's the tourniquet's already on for the amputation. So but
and then the other half of it, to my understanding, is like not even. It's kind of.
No,
it doesn't really do anything.
It makes the PPB do a bunch of stuff they already do, but now they have to do more paperwork about it, sort of. It just costs a bit of money and accomplishes nothing. And the fundamental thing I wanted to say about it, and I think that Olivia Clark might have been the best on this, but I think Dan Ryan and Eric Zimmerman were very, very good on it as well. It lies to Portlanders.
Right. It sells a concept that's not what it actually does.
It sells a win over ICE, and it isn't one. And so regardless of how you feel about ICE, although I think I've made my feelings quite clear, you cannot look at immigrant communities and go, we got you a win.
Right.
And you didn't get them shit.
Because that's bullshit.
It's bullshit. You're lying. You're lying to scared immigrants.
Yeah.
That's pretty loathsome, actually. I mean, that's offensive. And that's not an exaggeration. It is a misrepresentation of what has been accomplished.
Yeah, and it also honestly seems a little legally. I mean, it's hugely legally fraught. But it's like if you guys want to get into the why, go back to our last episode. It's just like the supremacy clause doesn't allow municipal governments to make those kind of decisions on federal police. Like there's just this whole,
It just doesn't. Yeah. You can be mad about it. You can be mad about ICE. You can protest ICE. You can take other steps that we have taken.
There's other things you can try, but it's just don't spend a bunch of time and money on something that's bullshit.
Yeah, put that money and effort to the things that are working.
Yeah,
because there are things that are working. Yeah, it was just ugly and it was sad and it's
to me it's another entry on the list of why we keep saying like these guys just. You can count the number of things they actually accomplish on one hand because it's like this is just a big time money waster that doesn't really do anything. Is there anything else you wanted to mention? I was going to say, do you have a prediction about Novik? Is he going to?
Novik
survive?
Novik will survive.
Okay.
Novik has plenty of support to survive. The question is, will they succeed at bumping him to number 2? And I don't know.
Right.
It just depends on what people's distaste for Angelita Murillo has become. I would like to hope in my heart that what has happened is that they peaked. They hit their caps and that the number... I don't think 10,000 people think Angelita Murillo is great at her job. I think 4,000 people think that, maybe 5, right? And okay, Portland has always had weird people. That's why we can't get fluoride in our water. But I don't I don't see her posting numbers. I don't think their plan is going to work. I still have faith that they saw their best performance they're likely to see. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
Most of the optimist in me is kind of dying on this whole thing.
I would say, like, yeah, I kind of half disagree and half agree. I do think that she's still very popular, but I do see a lot more people unhappy with her.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not saying she's never going to like post 1,800 votes. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
She has a huge popularity, but I'm just saying, is it 10,000 people? I think it's 5.
I think, yeah.
5,000 people is enough to notice.
I do think that's probably accurate that there was a peak. And
I think there's still thousands and thousands of D3 residents who love her. That's great, you know, that for her. My worry in D3 is that they're going to succeed at moving her up above Novick, and that he is going to be an old man about things and not realize that the ship has sailed without him, and that he needs to turn on Tiffany Koyama Lane and Angelita Murillo. He needs to turn on them and point out that they have stood in the way of progress.
Yeah, like in the campaign, he needs to actually make some
say, listen, these kids are trying to paint a false image of Portland. They are trying to paint themselves as the only trustworthy progressive counselors. That's horseshit. Alana Perlogini's a progressive. I'm a progressive. Stop it. Stop letting lie. Yeah, I think he needs to go on the attack. I think he needs to point out that Kelly Torres is a progressive. I think he needs to reach out and network in that way. I think he needs to realize that he cannot trust Brandon Mullen, because Brandon Mullen is coming for him.
Yeah. And his I think he has an idea to like remove I-5 entirely.
Oh yeah, this is big. This is big.
Stupid.
But
no, do you think I don't know, maybe this is real speculation, but do you think Novick cares or sees some of this online shit slinging against him that like Angelita does? And I don't know.
I think it would be smart of him to not care too much about it, but to realize they don't like you, Steve. It's not that it's all fair in love and war. No, they're coming for you. They want you out. So if you think your ideas are good, if you think your ideas are representative of progressive Portland, if you think you're good for Portland, then you are morally, ethically obligated to fight for your story. They are defining you. It's better to go on the offensive and don't let them define you. That's what I hope. I hope he doesn't spend all the day scrolling.
Yeah,
down.
I don't think he does. I would
hope he doesn't.
I was just curious more of like it's at least on his radar that like you said they're coming for you and they're
and what is ironic about all this is Angelita just posted a thing I think today where she tells us some story that may or may not have ever happened about some immigrant rights people that walked up to her at an event recently and apologized because they'd been so mean to her online over the failure to revoke the ICE permit, but they've seen the error of their ways. And she said something like, it's just really
useless mask vote.
Yes. And so she said something like, it's just really hard as an elected official because you don't get, people lie about you online and then you don't get to like clear your own record like most people do.
Well, she'd come on this show and do it. No.
But also, most people don't get to clear their own records. That's not actually how the world works. Yeah. Like, people are lied about online all the time. Being afraid of being lied about online is the problem. Novick needs to get over that. Like, all of them need to stop playing a lot safer. They need to stop worrying that some kids on Blue Sky will lie about them, and they need to make the argument about who they are. So yeah, that's my worry. My worry is it's going to be a slug match between Koyama Lane and Kelly Torres. And man, D3, if you choose Koyama Lane over Kelly Torres, I'm just not even sure you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not even sure if you're paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah. At that point, like I said, you're just voting for clickbait candidate, feel-goodism,
Yeah.
clickbait incumbent, really, who just gets handed money.
It's hard to criticize Tiffany Koyama Lane because there's nothing there. It's just
I know you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah. And then in D4,
I was gonna say, there's a new DSA D4 person, right?
I don't know that Jamie Evenstar, nay Duhamel, would identify as a DSA member. She's
previous.
She's previous Avalos staffer. Avalos fired her. Very, very nasty, contentious little firing, though no
You guys have had so much turnover already.
No formal complaint on that one.
You're saying Stafford as her current role, or
no, fired. Oh no, fired. She was her chief of staff.
Okay,
at City Hall.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I'm still
Jamie
saying.
Evenstar fired. brutally. I heard over Zoom. She didn't even fire to her face. It was rough. But Jamie is a white woman, so maybe that's why there's not a discrimination complaint. Yeah, not good. And she was also a former Chloe Eudaly staffer, who was the part of the reason why the big war against the neighborhood associations got started. Now, Jamie maintains that she has evolved in her views since then. But yeah, I mean, I can't.
Your one like champion thing is I took down neighborhood associations.
I am very dubious about a Eudaly turned Avalos staffer.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like she's got a lot of traction. I was just curious. Yeah, like, does it change any dynamics in D4?
I don't think it does. I think D4 is all the Jeremy Beausoleil Smiths of the world can keep rising up and shouting. No, D4 is a battle between four people. It's just a question of, are we going to trade Mitch for Eli or Eric for Eli, or are we just going to end up with the same three people?
Yeah, that's what I was telling.
It's an interesting question.
That's like my advice. I said, of ditch Mitch. It's no incumbents in D3, because it's like, if you're happy with, I would say, the lack of things that have been happening the past few years, or just this, if you don't like this bickering and juvenile pettiness, like just, I don't know. There's a lot wrong with Mitch, and to me, I've said many times, he's ushered us into this city recession.
Mitch is terrible.
Yeah,
he is the worst. Yeah,
don't rank him. Don't rank any.
Do not rank Mitch for any reason. If you care about restaurants, if you care about sports, if you care about any of the things that make the city great and fun, do not rank Mitch Green. You don't have to choose not to rank him because he's in the DSA. You can love democratic socialism. Mitch Green is terrible at his job, and he is an asshole.
What was the nickname you said earlier?
Mitch Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Green. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. We're trying to spread around a nice little poster. I'm trying to start a campaign to get Mitch Green banned from restaurants. I don't want him. One last thing, if I may, on the foie gras ban. The foie gras ban is not about foie gras.
Right. Well,
who gives a shit?
I was going to mention too, the thing we've talked about before, it sounds like it's going to be on the ballot, this, the group that's associated with their animal thing.
Banning all hunting and fishing. That'll never go, and it's also unconstitutional. It's just ugliness.
But you're saying that's the bigger...
No, it is, but they brought the foie gras ban back up again for a continued first reading before it goes into a second reading, and I don't even want to explain how that works. And Novick is going to be the seventh vote on that. Unless D3 residents can dissuade him this week, probably. Right? You got to contact Steve Novick and you got to tell him to knock it the hell off. This thing needs to die 6-6. It's one of the things that does need to die 6-6. If Steve Novick waffles on this and he's the seventh vote, I mean,
you're just making business harder for restaurants.
This is it. I will give Novick one little point, I guess. So Olivia Clark tried to soften the landing by adding in an amendment to give restaurants a year to comply. And so,
because right now there's no compliance window.
60 days.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh yeah, no, it's fuck restaurants, the bill. And people will be like, it's only like 6 restaurants.
I know,
but it's
if
fuck
you're
those
one of
6
those
restaurants.
handful, like that's your livelihood right there.
Especially if you're Andy Fortgang, and I want to get to that. So Andy Fortgang was there. He showed up to the reading, and Steve Novick at least gave him this. He was like, well, we can bicker up here all day long about what 60 days or 90 days or 180 days or a year means, but let's have Andy Fortgang come up and weigh in.
Yeah.
And Andy stepped up there and he weighed in and he made an impassioned case for like, oh, don't do this. But if you're going to do it to me, then more time is better. 6 months is better. A year is even better. We have to change our menu.
Change the whole menu, yeah.
They take 90-day reservations. There are people that travel in from other states to eat there.
And for a lot of restaurants, I feel like a menu change like that, if that's kind of the nature of what they serve is like specialty things, like you're basically saying you got to change your whole business model. You got to change your business.
You got to change what you're famous for. Yeah. And Andy Fortgang, I is not a friend.
Yeah,
not a friend. I'm just a person. I don't even really know him. But he has done more for this city than the entire Peacock put together.
Right.
These are our makers. These are our doers. These are our creative people.
Yeah.
And we keep attacking them and we keep driving them out of this city. So Andy Fortgang, it was hard for me to sit up there or to like sit and watch the way that Mitch Green and Angelita Murillo treated Andy Fortgang in that discussion, the mockery and the disdain that they showed him. I think Mitch is a gross, spineless man. I think he has absolutely no ounce of courage left in him, and he has no real love for the city. He is a puppet for his paymasters. It's pathetic. I don't think that he should be allowed to eat at Portland restaurants anymore. I think that Portland restaurants should join me in banning him.
I think that's a fair idea too, because
he can eat hot dogs at home.
Yeah, I was going to mention, like, these, from what I know, all those folks kind of supporting that, they've never run a business. A lot of them haven't even worked at it.
A lot of them have never worked a real job in their life.
Yeah.
And I want to just say one last thing, because Andy has on the foie gras thing, Andy has pointed this out. The activists who want this passed, they go to these businesses and they reserve seats during peak hours, and they go in and they sit down dressed normally, and they stand up and they pull their jackets off and they reveal their t-shirts and they scream at them. They have to get they stand outside the businesses. Last night, little assholes, because they travel in from out of state to support this thing, were standing outside Jonkin, the Korean Japanese fusion place in the Pearl, screaming at people. And it's like, 5, 6 emaciated losers, but like,
I mean, that's a real wrench in their business, though.
Yes, go make your argument at City Hall. Go spend your money lobbying for your stupid thing. But the fact that you have to keep sabotaging local businesses to make your point.
Because I'd imagine a lot of those, like, usually there's no cost to make a reservation. Maybe there's a small one, but they're not getting the dinner that they would normally sell.
They are actively hurting the business of these restaurants. These restaurants matter more than they do. They straight up do.
And obviously, if these people believe in these principles, they're not going to eat this stuff anyway.
And they're not going to
pay for it,
and they're also not going to go to Le Pigeon after the ban, because they're going to go, that was the guy that sold foie gras. He's a monster.
Right.
Yeah, Andy Fortgang is not a monster. He's, by all reports, a really nice guy. I've had very few interactions with him, but he seems like a nice enough guy. He's also, again, one of our makers, one of our doers, one of our builders. These kids hate restaurant owners. They hate business owners. They hate businesses. The average restaurant owner in Portland brings home less in pay.
Yeah.
Owner.
I mean, they're lucky to break even.
They bring home less in pay than a DSA social media staffer.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is not the billionaires. This is not the Epstein class. We are just cutting into the bits that make Portland great. We're attacking our sports teams. We're attacking, Dundon, I'm not going to sit here and defend him, but like, stop trying to cut PSEF funds out of trash cleanup for nature areas. Angelita Murillo does not want PSEF to be used to clean nature areas. Because that's
like
sweeps.
Springwater corridor.
Yeah, that's sweeps.
Like that.
That's sweeps.
Wow.
We're brutalizing homeless people. They have a right to just dump all their crap in our green spaces. That's not a good use of PSEF to clean it up.
And waterways. I was pointing out.
And waterways. All the zombie boats in the river.
Right,
they don't give a shit about our natural areas. They don't care about our businesses. They don't care about our creators. They don't care about our sports teams. They have this national agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Which they are completely beholden to. This is where the SIOC is. This is the Socialists in Office
Committee.
Committee.
You were going to bring that up, yeah.
They meet with the SIOC once a week. This is a scheduled lobbying meeting. This is where their paymasters tell them what to do. The SIOC is a Socialists in Office Committee.
Okay.
Every DSA elected has to meet with the SIOC. They try for weekly.
That's a DSA committee.
That is a DSA committee.
National DSA.
Yeah. I mean, the DSA organizations, the NPC, the National Political Committee, feeds down. They have a kind of a complicated chart. I can send you the chart. But the SIOC meets with your elected official, and that's their marching orders. And they sign these agreements, as Spencer Pratt pointed out, for co-govern. Like, this is the Borg. Right. It's the collective. Tammy Carpenter, in her questionnaire, that I read a little section of here, when she was asked basically, how do you foresee handling disagreements with the SIOC? Her answer was, I don't foresee having disagreements with the PSYOP.
Oh no,
that is deranged.
Yeah,
that is
you're
not
committed in advance to all of their policies.
That is not democracy.
Yeah. No, I just want to point out too, like that is really fucking wild, and it's something I just we talk about all the time, but it's like for municipal city governments, like that's just unheard of, and that's illegal in many cases, especially for their staff to be taking marching orders from a political party. Like that's just not how most cities operate.
Wild. And then they want to,
there's no party designation in city council or commissioner roles usually.
and they want to sit there and pretend that Loretta Smith is a puppet of the PPA, and they want to pretend that Olivia Clark is a puppet of the Metro Council.
Which, by the way, those aren't even political parties.
Those
it's
aren't
just different to me of like, and I know they would say DSA isn't, but it is. It's a fucking.
Yeah, but also they aren't. Like Loretta Smith is not a puppet of the PPA. Loretta Smith, we can hash out all the favors she does for her friends. I would argue she's far more loyal to Self-Enhancement Inc. and these nonprofits in the Black community, which
you can go at, like, you can criticize them too, but
she's not a puppet.
She's not, yeah.
The DSA electeds are literally puppets, and the reason that they are puppets is because of AOC. Because the DSA never wanted to make a mistake like AOC ever again. Because they got AOC elected, and then she screwed around and acted like a politician and listened to her constituents. I don't like AOC, but she is a politician, and she is accountable to her constituents. She does not do everything the DSA tells her to do. That's why she's been put on a probationary endorsement status so many times. That's why so many DSA writers have advocated to cut her out of the party, and they went ahead and they patched that hole. They were like, we're never going through this again. And in 2024, 2025, they decided when we elect, if you're a candidate, an official DSA candidate, if you're a member of the party and elected, a socialist in office, you are our elected. You are an extension of the collective.
Which is the wild part. Yeah, like I was gonna, like, these, what is it called? What's the acronym?
A SIOC, Socialist in Office Committee.
Which sounds kind of ludicrous to begin, but it sounds like PSYOP.
Yeah, it does.
But so, like, do you know our local officials here?
It's on their calendar, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, somebody actually, one of our mutual friends sent me this thing. We're like, what is a PSYOC? And I went, well, what do you mean? Well, I don't, she's like, there's this thing on the calendar weekly where they're meeting with the DSA. And I went, oh, okay, yeah, got to explain it to you.
Yeah, let me ask you. So, is that on, I'm guessing, their city time?
Yeah.
For the elected? Okay.
Yeah, and it's loggable, like, lobbying hours. Like, it's a loggable lobbying time. It's just a regular recurring meeting. And they would say, well, Eric Zimmerman meets with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I was only asking because, like, for me, the distinction's, it's a real fine line of, like, look, if you're an elected, you're really only accountable to your voters. A lot of these laws I'm talking about. That's why I always say, staffers, it's a totally different story. And that's why I'm just wondering if their staff are going to these or attending these, that is 100% straight up illegal under Oregon law.
Yeah. So I would be interested in looking into that. Well, yeah. And there's the whole union debacle, which that's not totally resolved yet. But it seems like they're going to be joining the CWA, which is the DSA's union. That's going to give the DSA another avenue into these offices.
Collective workers or something?
This is a communication workers. It used to be the telephone operators union. We don't really have those anymore. So now it's just like this random hodgepodge of like
social media people.
Yeah. And like comic book company workers and Mox boarding house, like random.
Like whoever will give them union dues.
Yeah. KBOO.
Okay.
KBOO's in that union. Yeah. It's just a random assortment, but it's Nick Caleb's union. It's the DSA's union.
Okay.
So that's another avenue into City Hall. No, I mean, this stuff is ugly. It is either barely legal or nakedly illegal.
I think it's 100. Like I said, if their staff are going to these committee meetings,
I'm hearing rumors about the I'm hearing rumors about the Peacock communicating via Telegram to hide.
I'm sure Signal, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, Signal. It's like the rules are not applying to them. They are running roughshod over. Yeah. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, and we've seen.
It's hard to overstate how bad it is.
Yeah, like we've seen. Go back and watch Max and I's episode last year about the whole first year budget went with the secret chats. To me, that was a ethics violation that was just ignored.
Another learning exercise.
But yeah, like we've seen them do that in a more less strictly controlled communication platform, but now they're probably taking it to those other platforms.
Yeah, and you can talk about the social media crap. They use their personal accounts to discuss city business all the time, where they block people. But then, you've got one of them accused Olivia Clark this morning of breaking the law because she had hidden some comments under the break on Instagram. You could still see them. You have to just
Right.
click
It's one of
show
those that's
hidden.
like show spam.
Show
basically.
spam,
Yeah.
exactly. But they were like, she's got that turned on and she's an elected official and I think it might be illegal for her. And I'm like, you guys.
I think
use
that's
your
just a default
I
meta
think it
thing,
is. I
yeah.
don't think she can control that. But you guys have like so personal social media accounts you use all the time to share city
It's okay.
business.
Those are private companies. They're not, that's not democracy.
No,
yeah. You know?
But this is it. Yeah, it's sort of every accusation a confession. It's just a giant nightmare. So, again, there's 100 reasons to dislike the DSA. I pick one, and just don't rank them. Just don't rank. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
Yeah, and I think there's another. So I'm stealing again from Spencer Pratt, but I think he was saying they're not. These aren't Democrats. Like we need to start divorcing that terminology. I know that's part of their name. But, like not. You and I've been a Democrat my whole life, still am a registered Democrat, and like
they're not.
They don't represent anything about what I was known for that party.
Ashley Hartmeyer Prigg.
Not that it should be involved with municipal stuff anyway, but
Ashley Hartmeyer Prigg was accused of using campaign materials that lied about the DSA. The campaign materials she used were what I leaked, right? I sent every campaign in the city and surrounding cities those Tammy Carpenter documents because that was the whole point of leaking it. So she used some of that material where they show that
the questionnaire thing,
the questionnaire and the statements on that Trillbilly Workers podcast where Olivia Cappy says that the end goal is to rupture with the party and to
It's all public.
It's all publicly again to my point of easily searchable views, easily searchable plans. This is the Project 2025 level. It's so easy to find. It's embarrassing, and the DSA's defense was Ashley Hartmeyer Prigg is lying about us. Mike Schmidt had Angelita Murillo on to explain how John Isaacs has got it all wrong. This is just a Red Scare. They're lying about us. They're lying about us using our own internal documents and views and platform that we have clearly published.
Right, even though it's laid out in the open and you can pull it up.
Yeah. And I'm out of arguments. I've run out of like if people are still going to vote for this.
Yeah, I think
I don't
know if it's half and half, but I think there's always going to be people who just smell that bullshit and go, smells great. And then there's going to be other people who are kind of, a little more skeptical.
But just like have the courage to say, yes, those are our founding documents and we believe in that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Then vote for that. Yeah. But it's the Portlanders who are like, I don't know, Max, you're sounding kind of right wing by pointing out this thing that is easy to verify.
Right.
Like, it just sounds conspiratorial. It sounds so unbelievable. I'm like, well, here's 3 PDFs. Man, I got to read those. Those are hard. It's like multiple pages per PDF. I can't do that. I'm out of arguments on that end. Portland is just going to decide in November. I mean, I'm going to keep repeating the arguments. I'm going to keep making the points, but I have no new points.
Right. Yeah.
John Isaacs is right. The Metro Chamber in this instance, and not in all instances, in this instance is right. The DSA is really bad for Portland.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else?
No.
We wrap it up here? We kind of went long, but this was
we went long. The budget was, it needed to happen.
There was a lot that's happened since we last talked.
Oh my gosh. Too much. Give me money.
Oh yeah. You want to do you mentioned this about your records requests?
Oh, that's funded. That's funded.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Just go subscribe to my Substack.
Yeah,
give me money.
Substack.
I don't need your money for the Don't Rank DSA campaign. That's free. Just don't rank them. It's really easy. Step 1, don't rank them. Step 2, go watch something you enjoy on TV. But for all the other stuff, give me money. Go to Substack. Give me money.
Yeah, and it's not a lot. I don't know what I think I pay $5.
It's like $5 a month.
Yeah.
You can give me $50 a year. You can give me any amount of money you want to, but it's $5 a month or $50 a year. It's not.
Yeah, and you actually get
money.
Something unlike these arts taxes and all this shit. Where
Yes,
you feel like you're getting nothing for your money.
And if you guys pay me millions and millions of dollars, maybe I'll pay for art teachers too. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably a better steward of that money than
writing school or something.
Yeah.
Cool, Max. Yeah, I just want to talk to you, man.
Great.
And we'll do it again at some point.
All right.